Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this afternoon? Welcome back to the channel. This is actually episode 200 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast, which is pretty damn awesome. And it just so happens to be a Chosen of Valhalla stream. My $25 and up backers on Patreon and Subscribestar join me for a lot of fun. And yes, I know there are two streams up right now. I have both chats up. So for any reason someone is still in the chat with like 4 people, hey, that's okay. I'll keep an eye on that chat as well. As Dean Approved has sent an ice cream cone. Dean Approved, thank you very much for the $1.50 ice cream cone super sticker. But I am indeed enjoyed. I am indeed joined by my Chosen of Valhalla for the month of November. And so let's just go around the horn, starting off with Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy, how you doing, good sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm back to work and everything's been going well.
Nice, very good. It's always good to go, because how long had you been out of work?
Probably 4 months. I did some temporary work on 2 occasions,
Yeah.
but I got tired of it and just want to go back to full-time work.
Well, that's awesome, though, that you're back to full-time. And, of course, you're back to full-time, and now people are closing things down again. So it's like, really? Can we just pick one and stick with it? You know, are we open? Are we closed? Like, come on now.
You know, I intentionally picked a retail job, so there's no real way they're going to get, I'm going to be working, basically.
Yeah, totally. I hear that.
Yeah, I was very careful. I didn't want to pick a job and then turn around and get laid off again.
Well, anyway, thank you very much for joining us once again. Glad to have you here.
Appreciate it.
Also, we have today joining us Rosetta Allen. Rosetta Allen, how is it going? Rosetta? Rosetta?
And then my sound doesn't want to work because reasons.
Well, welcome back. Glad to have you here. How's it going?
Extremely busy. Always overworked. Always got a million projects going. You know me.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to be showing some of that later because she's working on some amazing drawings right now. And there is one especially of an eagle that looks spectacular. And so we'll definitely pull that up a little bit later. And we'll talk about your campaigns and how they're doing and how people can support you and support your work.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for being here. Also joining us is ZK Man. ZK Man, how is it going, good sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Just trying to heal up an injured shoulder of mine.
Okay. What happened to your shoulder?
I was trying to balance myself holding onto a post. It decided to slip and the board that it was holding up came down and slammed against my left shoulder, almost knocking it out of its socket.
Oh my goodness.
So pretty much for almost since Wednesday, I guess, I've been trying to get it healed up.
Wow. That's crazy. I'm very sorry to hear that, but I'm glad to hear that it seems to be healing up pretty well.
Yeah, okay. It's doing a lot better than what it was.
Okay, well that's good. I'm sorry to hear that you got injured though, and I'm glad that you were able to join us today. How is everything going with your album?
It's going pretty good. Pretty much before it started dropping down a little bit, it actually on Spotify I ended up with over 35,000 streams for it.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been pretty much it. It's been capping off around in the thousands. It ain't as high as it was, but it's still doing pretty good.
Okay, still that's pretty good. 35,000 streams.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome, man. And of course we'll talk about that and shout that out once again this month as well, a little bit later in the stream. So thank you very much for being here once again.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And lastly, we have the wonderful, the beautiful, the Empress of the Universe, Tina. How's it going, Tina?
I'm doing okay. Hello, everyone. Kind of bummed. I was supposed to be leaving for my cruise on December 6th, and of course, that is not going to happen.
Oh.
So Because all the cruise lines have delayed until next spring, and Princess Cruise Lines, which is owned by Carnival, they said they're not going to cruise again until maybe the end of March. So now I'm getting real nervous about my Alaska cruise in June, even though it's on Norwegian. But it's just like the CDC just, and my stupid brother, I was just like, I might as well just bang my head into drywall and I'd get the same result when it comes to him. He's like, I wouldn't get, they can't pay me $1 million to get on a cruise ship. And I was like, brother dear, cruise ships are cleaner than grade schools. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Damn right. Yeah, seriously. I mean, it's just that's the one that bothers me the most, are the ones that are just completely about like, oh my gosh, you're gonna die if you go on a cruise ship. It's like no, the chances of that are 0.0001%. So yeah, there's a chance. It's very low, but there is a chance, I guess.
There's always a chance. Of the chance I could get run over by a car when I step out the door.
That's
so,
true.
Just saying. But no, that's my brother. I don't know why he didn't become a lawyer like he had talked about, because right now, like, it's cloudy. I could say it's cloudy, and Antonio would say, no, sun's shining.
Well, he is also the one that has a pretty questionable movie collection. He's got some really good ones, and then he's also got some not so good ones also.
Yeah, it's like, you'll look at our voodoo and I'm like, oh, look, he added like something really good. I'll just say like The Departed. Oh, he added Birds of Prey. Why is that in there? Oh, my brother. But
he's family. He's family.
He's family. He was the only boy, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
So, anyway.
No, because
right?
Other than that, I've been doing a lot of reading and movie watching.
Nice.
That's it. So.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thanks for being here. And it was mentioned earlier that Stephanie B is having some internet issues, so she will probably not be in the chat today, but we will still be watching the chat, so make sure you behave yourselves. And also, too, definitely want to give a shout-out to Laura. She is in the chat right now. However, I know that she wanted to be on the show today, but there's crazy stuff going on at work right now, and so she's not able to. So hopefully she'll be able to jump on at some point over the next stream. I will only be able to go for about 2 hours today, so probably trying to wrap up around 4 p.m. Eastern time, and that's just because obviously with baby Thor, I want to make sure that I can help out the wife and not go for too long there. So pretty much gonna be the Friday Night Tights length of show for today because of that. So thank y'all for being here. To my chosen, shout out to Laura, shout out to everyone in the chat as well. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and say hello to people who are here. By the way, Dean Approved, thank you for another super sticker here on the second stream. And yes, there are 2 streams. Don't ask me why. That I knew it happened the first time. The second time, there's no reason for there to be that stream. I shut it off. So it is what it is at this point. So, that's technology for you. It's great when it works, but when it doesn't, it's terrible. But anyway, the super sticker from Dean Approves says tired. Yes, I get that. And it's a cup of coffee. I totally get that. And speaking of the other chat, let's just wrap up that old chat first, because that's the first stream that was up, and there were some comments left. So It's a Trap Productions says, "My lord, may your day be a blessed one. Blessings to you, It's a Trap Productions." JRoar123 was here. Keck44 was here. Apollome's Minion was here as well. Zacharat315, Bashy Washy, Rob D in the chat. GMuggin76 at 201 over there says, "There might be 2 streams again." Yes, indeed. There still are. Alice McCarthy, who's a member, says, "Howdy, Odin. How's it going?" It's going well, Alex. Glad to see you back in the chat. Bruce over there, Jeremy Swiggs, and Balin the Hobbit with the wonderful comment of 2 streams, 1 cup. Let's hope not. We all know how the other one turned out, and it was not good. Now let's go over to the other stream, which has been scheduled on YouTube for a while now. And so Tina B was the first one in there. How's it going, Tina B? She says, "Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all." We're waiting on Odin to set things up. Yes, indeed. And it is now off and running. Twice over, in fact. Andrew Hoyle, who's a member, says hello, hello, hello. Hello, Andrew Hoyle. He is going to try and join us for next month's chosen stream because he wants to be able to show his beautiful face when he's on, and so he's got to wait for a webcam to come in. So he'll be joining us for the December stream. Thank you again, Andrew Hoyle, for becoming the newest Patreon member and recent Chosen of Valhalla member as well. ZK Man, who's on the stream right now, Streamception, says, "What up, all? The ZK Man is in the house, so to speak. Kinda, sorta, a little bit, yeah." Let us see what else we got going on. Andrew Hoyle was there, waiting for Nerdrotic. Laura's there. Happy Sunday morning. Happy Sunday morning. Now afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, of course. Afternoon, evening. I think Tina had it right at the beginning. Good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you might be. Laura, glad to see you in the chat. Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father. Blessed Sunday to you. He says, hail. I figured I'd pop in for a bit. For a second, I thought it said poop in for a bit, and I thought that was funny. I laughed inside. I laughed and laughed and laughed, and then I realized, oh, that's not what he said. And that's my ADD. Anyway, G-Monkey76. How's it going? Father, yes, indeed. It was supposed to start 2 minutes ago, and it did start 2 minutes ago. It's just, it is what it is. As he says, excuses, and then says, you think after 200 episodes he'd have the bugs worked out. Oh, okay, Father. Instead of tagging someone, you just put that general comment out there, knowing that I'd read it. I see what's going on. There. And I do have things figured out. YouTube, for some reason, can't figure me out. The real question is, why hasn't YouTube figured me out yet? I think that is the more accurate phrase. That's what Gary should start using every time.
Blame YouTube.
I will always blame YouTube. Every time.
Remember, YouTube sucks, right?
YouTube sucks. Yes, it does. And we have Laura saying, don't cross the streams. Well, so far, no one has crossed over to the other one, so that is good news. Though I'm sure someone will at some point. If even just because I just said that. Waiting for Nerdrotic says, scary music intro. Yes, indeed. I do love that opening song. Hopefully no one ever copyright claims it like the old outro, because that wasn't fun for me at all. Andrew Hoyle says, 200. I'll get the mead. Oh, Andrew Hoyle going to enjoy some mead. Isn't that distilled honey? Yes.
So.
No.
I think it is.
I like how Tina was whispering.
I wouldn't know.
I think so. It was like she's in the background, like, oh, I think that's correct.
I think that's right.
They won't notice if I whisper it to you.
I had some when I was in England, and I didn't like it. It was
really?
too sweet.
Ah, see, if I did drink, I'd probably enjoy it because I like sweet things.
Yeah.
Which is why I love all of you, because you're all sweet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm not.
I know Rosetta loved that comment. She loves cheesy comments like that. She's like, I reject you. It's like, I disavow your
reject
sweetness.
your reality and substitute my own.
Ah, yes, of course. Laura says, can we do a Spartans-themed stream for Stream 300? Ooh, I like that. I do like that idea. As long as we don't have to watch the movie 300 ever again, then I'll be okay.
I don't have a problem with that.
I personally think it's great. That's fantastic. And Fearter, who's a member, what's going on? Fearter says, why, hello there, Alden. Oh, hello, Infearter. I'm glad that I could figure out the accent you're going for with the way you spelled those words. The Hunker Chunker Funker Monkey, what's going on, good sir? Glad to have you back. Obviously, there's members on the channel who can only join us on these chosen streams because of the time differences, so always glad to see Hunky Chunky in on these earlier streams. Zacharat315 says, howdy, Zacharat315. Glad to see you over here. Harvey Weinstein says, hey, family.
Wow.
Great name. That's a great name right there. We got Eric K, who's a member in the chat. Mr. Roy in the chat, of course. And let's see, who else? Andrew Hoyle says, I've wanted to go on a cruise ever since I watched The Love Boat as a kid. Oh, did The Love Boat influence you at all, Tina?
Every time I saw The Love Boat, I was like, I don't think cruising's for me, because you saw all these women built like models and men that were built like Schwarzenegger, and then you find out no, people on cruises are just normal. So,
You know what's funny?
And-
Go ahead.
and some shouldn't be seen in Speedos. Just saying.
You know what? It kind of reminds me of, you know what my experience for cruises is? Have y'all ever seen the movie? Oh my gosh. Now, of course, because, you know, I'm terrible.
Please don't say Speed 2.
Oh, no, not Speed 2. It's better. It's better than Speed 2. And I've forgotten the name of it, so I'm looking up the actor who I know is starring in it because I don't want people just to put it in the chat. If anyone is able to know the movie I'm thinking of, I will be, like, hugely surprised. Anyway, so the number one movie for me that influenced my thought about this aspect and this concept, I don't know why I'm building it up so much, this concept of going on cruises is a film, a beautiful little film from 2002 starring Cuba Gooding Jr. called Boat Trip.
Oh my God, I've heard of that movie.
Oh, it is one of the funniest films I have ever seen. And it is just wonderful for so many different reasons. In fact, it stars the great Roger Moore, who played, as we all know, James Bond. And he plays a rich gay man. And it's fantastic. It is completely fantastic because the whole time I'm like, wait a minute, that's James Bond. This is a different kind of role for him. I like it. And it is just
You're disturbed.
It's a terrible film. Let me just put it out there. It's a really bad movie, but it's still really funny. I'm sure there's some people who have seen it who are going to say, yes, I know it. But anyway, so that film, in the same way, it's because the whole concept of it is that they're trying to go on a cruise because Cuba Gooding Jr. has just broken up with his girlfriend, or his girlfriend broke up with him, and she's like a supermodel person. I forgot the actress's name, but she's like a very well-known actress / model, and so breaks up with him. He's trying to get over it. It's the co-stars Horatio Sands from SNL fame, which again just phenomenal. But anyway, so they go and they're trying to get on a cruise, and then they end up treating this person who's setting them up with the cruise terribly, and he gets upset. And so Will Ferrell, who plays this guy's boyfriend, says, "Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of y'all." And what he does is he puts them onto a gay cruise.
Oh, I've heard of. Yeah, I think I've seen a bit of this movie, and then I was like, oh God, didn't Cuba Gooding Jr. just win an Oscar, and now he's in?
Oh yeah,
this.
Oh yeah, because he had been in. I'm trying to find it because it was Radio that he won for, right? No, or Jerry Maguire. No,
Jerry Maguire. Yeah,
he won for supporting actor. So in 1996, he won for that. He was also nominated in As Good as It Gets in 97. I actually forgot he was in that movie. That's interesting.
I didn't remember him being in that.
He was in Men of Honor. He got nominated for that. And then he was in Snow Dogs that same year. And Snow Dogs is actually a pretty fun family film for the most part. However, 2002, he did get nominated for something, but it was the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Actor in a film. But yeah, anyway, Boat Trip. That's my knowledge of cruises. Of course, and also Titanic. But I mean, let's not, we don't have to go there.
Yeah, because I still talk to people like, I'm scared to go on a cruise ship because, we might hit an iceberg. Well, number one, unless you're in the North Atlantic at that time of the year, I don't think you need to worry about it. There are usually not any icebergs in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Plus that they have an international ice patrol, thanks to the Titanic sinking, that monitors icebergs. But yeah, if I'm going to go back, I've been in love with ships since I first heard about the Titanic. So
okay.
I was always like, I want to go on a ship one day.
So for most people, they see Titanic and they say, oh, that's scary. Tina sees it and says, I want to be on one of those.
I want to be on one of those. It's not, as long as it's not Titanic 2. So,
I do love that.
You are a disturbed woman, and we all love you.
I do love how it's been over 100 years, and people are still like, "But I might hit an iceberg." I'm pretty sure we've learned a lot in the past 100+ years. I mean,
that so drives me crazy, and I've even heard captains say that that's the first question they're always asked. Is there a chance we might hit an iceberg? We're in the freaking Caribbean, people.
Be like. I hope that bus drivers are asked similar things about, so what if a bomb is put onto our bus and we have to go to a certain speed in order for it to not go off? I wonder how many bus drivers have been asked that question, honestly.
Oh my god.
Because I feel like it's almost at this point, 100 years later, it's the same kind of logic of probability of it happening at this point.
Yeah, and I have to argue logic with them, and then once I do, they're like, oh, well, that makes sense. Especially the Titanic didn't have enough lifeboats. Yeah, they did. They didn't fill them to capacity. And then they're like, oh, I didn't know that. Well, if you'd watched the movie, you would even know that.
And the whole time I'm in the background like, the door was big enough. The door was big enough.
That's me and Stephanie. It's like, roll over. You can get him on there. He's thin.
It's like when you say when you say never let go and then you let go, that's a contradiction.
That's a contradiction. I never let go, Jack. I never let go. You let go.
Meanwhile, I'm just laughing at Gentry in chat.
Oh, you see, I've fallen behind a little bit, so I'll get to Gentry.
Talk all you want about no icebergs in the Caribbean, but there are pirates. I've seen those Johnny Depp films.
No, you got to go over to Somali area, and there are still pirates. Fun fact.
Yes, there actually are.
Look at me. I'm the captain now. True story. Not that I'm a captain, but that movie. Anyway, Keely.
No, you're not a captain of anything. Other than the sinking ship you call your Valhalla.
Yes, that is a true statement. It was mean. It was mean, and it was hurtful, but it's true. So.
Mwah. Love you.
Much love. Mwah. Now that I'm on camera for y'all. All right. Anyway, ZK Man in the chat, Keely Chow in the chat as well, Eric K before the chat jumped on me, like it always does. In fact, I'm kind of surprised. Oh, speaking of which, let me go ahead and put Heimdall on. That'd be good. That'd be good to have Heimdall on. I'm surprised Will Gentry didn't say, Heimdall's not on. I'm not getting my digital currency. Or actually, it should be, hello there, Poppet. I'm not getting my digital currency. That's right. I just threw shade at Will Gentry.
That's not the words he usually uses, but
yeah, I gotta keep it.
It is your stream.
I gotta keep it clean somehow. I mean, Then why
am I here?
Because you keep it clean when you're on my stream, and I just rhymed.
That's just because there's a mute button.
Because I got time.
That's just because there's a mute button. I mute myself a lot when I'm swearing.
Like these asshats talking about. I mean, you didn't say that, but like these people talking about this and this. I'm sure.
No. No, it's not to make fun of you.
Laura says boys are yucky. Yes. Except when you're on the cruise ship that Cuba Gooding Jr. was on boat trip. Then the boys are yummy. Eric K says, hail, good to see you, Odin. Father of Thor, hail to you, Eric K. Hologram Nunchuck, hail to you. Dean Approved says, California open theaters, Gavin Newsom. You're having too much fun. We're back in purple. Dean Approved. Yeah, I mean, the same dude who was like, oh, wait, I just got caught. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a curfew. And you know what? I have to give a shout out to all of the sheriffs out there in our country who have been telling these governors, no, I'm not enforcing your stupid Thanksgiving ban. I'm not doing that because there's actually I was listening to a radio show the other day, and they had a sheriff in New York who has gotten national attention because he said, I'm not going to enforce this crazy Cuomo ban on Thanksgiving and the number of people you can have in your home. And his logic is very sound. He says, no, if you put an executive order trying to say that you can shut down businesses, you can do that because those businesses have to get licenses from the state. And so therefore there is some legitimacy. I don't like it, but there is some legitimacy there. When you're someone in the privacy of your own home, you cannot enforce that. And so shout out to any sheriff that's telling their governors up yours when it comes to those types of not illegal, but unlawful restrictions because they don't have the power to do it. They can sign the piece of paper, but the sheriffs at the end of the day got to say, that's not what the Constitution says. I can't go into someone's home and saying, got too many people here. So, yes, indeed.
You imagine being a cop and like going to someone's house and start counting people and be like, yeah, there's too many people here. You need to get out.
Yeah.
And you know what the sad thing too is? I don't think there are a lot of, I would say 99.99% of sheriffs and deputies are not going to do that. What you're going to find is the vast majority of people who are going to get quote unquote in trouble, if even. I honestly don't think a lot of people will get in trouble for having too many people over. But what's going to happen is you're going to have those people who are in their house looking across the street, and they're going to say, oh, there's 5 cars in front of that house. And then they'll call and they'll report. And that's why I'm so thankful for these sheriffs and these deputies saying, yeah, call us, but we're not doing anything about it because it's their house. They have a
And
right to do it.
our police department is so ticked off at our mayor and governor anyway. I think they would probably give them all the middle finger. Because one of my friends, who is a former co-worker, I was telling her, oh, you know what the governor did? No more than 8 people in your house on Thanksgiving. And she said, he's not telling me he can F off. He's not telling me how many people I can have in my home for Thanksgiving, because she is doing a Friendsgiving again this year. I probably won't make it, not because of our governor, but because she does live quite a distance from me. And I'm like, yeah, you tell them. And remember Odin, back when the quarantine first started in the spring, and he was trying to get the police to arrest people for attending church in their car, even though they were staying in their cars.
That's right. Yeah.
And having drive-through communion, he was demanding the police and the state police to arrest people. And of course, the Trump administration had to step in and say, no, you can't violate people's religious rights, especially if they're in their cars. They're not even in the church itself. Yeah,
and that's I think that's the kind of, and that's what was interesting about hearing the sheriff talk, because he kind of really laid it out, saying if you're in if you're on the public street, right, the government does have oversight over that public street. If you have a business where you pay taxes, or if you have to get a license for something like restaurants have to do, technically speaking, right, state and local governments have some general authority. Obviously, I don't agree with any of the lockdowns. I don't agree with those measures, but at least there's something that could be done there. The problem is when you start to say, oh, I can tell people who are in their car, which is their property, which is an extension of the home, you can't sit there and listen to this. That is not just an infringement upon anyone's religious rights, but it's also an infringement upon their property rights as well, because you're telling someone essentially what to do with their property when what they're doing is not, it's one thing if you're driving crazy on the highway going 120 miles an hour in a 60. There's another thing completely when you're just sitting in your car not harming anyone. And that is, again, that's a double thing, because you're also violating their property rights too.
And he kind of blindsided our restaurants the other day. He just came out of nowhere and said, all restaurants that have where you go in and dine in, you can't operate anymore. You can only have carry out and delivery.
Yeah.
That blindsided so many restaurants in Kentucky, because they're like, well, we thought he would say scale back to like 25% capacity or whatever. Most of them are saying they're not going to survive this.
Yeah.
And he's trying to come up with some fake fund, oh, we'll be able to do this and do that. And it's like, no, it's over.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah. People are done.
They did the same thing here in Portland, where it was not too long ago. They allowed restaurants to make outdoor seatings so they could stay open. As soon as people spent thousands of dollars putting these outdoor seatings in, they come out and said, for the next 4 weeks, we're going to shut all the restaurants down for only takeout.
Wow.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, and he's also, like our governor said, if you have outdoor seating, most restaurants in Kentucky do not have like tents set up outside where they have the little heaters. I've been to restaurants like that before. Most of them do not have that because they don't even have the space for it. So just to throw that out there, and then well, I'm Andy Brashear, I've spoken. It's just like, well, I didn't vote for you anyway, you piece of crap. I didn't vote for your daddy either when he was governor. So
that's just the worst when these family dynasties are in charge of political structures. It's like, just no. Just because your dad was in charge doesn't mean that automatically means that you're just somehow qualified.
Right. And the governor before, Brashear, was a Republican. I knew he was not going to get reelected because he came out against the teachers' unions. He supported kids receiving vouchers to go to whatever schools they wanted to. And the teachers' union was like, no, we're bringing him down. And they brought him down. I knew it was going to happen.
That's kind of crazy to think about in Kentucky, of all places, too.
Yeah, we're a mixed up state. It's like we went red in the presidential. Right now, McConnell got reelected. We have Rand Paul. We have Ron Paul's son. We have
Yeah.
him. So 2 Republican senators. My congressman, though, Louisville, because you all know I'm from here. Louisville is like Austin or San Francisco.
Okay.
Because the representative is a Democrat. He is a hardcore leftist, but they reelect him over and over again. Louisville and Lexington both went for Biden, but the rest of the state went for Trump.
I just pulled it up right now. Every single county is red except for Louisville and Lexington.
Yeah, yes, Fayette and Jefferson County, and that doesn't surprise me because I've seen so many Yankees move here. And it's like, yeah, you move from your lousy situation, come here and try to turn us into the same lousy situation. I can't remember the last time we had a Republican mayor. It's been that long.
Wow.
Yeah, here, yeah. Yeah, I think it was when I was a kid.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
And McConnell at one time was county judge. That was such a change. That was like back in when he first started his career.
Yeah.
And then when he ran for the Senate, he actually got the Democrat kicked out. And it was oh my gosh, it was such a surprise because nobody was like, oh, they're never going to put Huddleston out. He's in there forever. And McConnell did.
You know what would be interesting to me, because I'm looking at the map now, because I didn't realize that y'all's election for governor was back in 2019.
Yes.
And 49.2% to 48.8%. All I'll say is that if what people are claiming about this past election is true, people might want to look into that, because that's a pretty close race. That's a 5,000 vote margin. And that's pretty close, but yeah, it is interesting to see how this works, because Tennessee is similar. And
yes,
it's very much, it's a very red state when it comes to presidential politics and Senate politics. But then individual, like my city is in a county, and the city is more moderate left, where the county is more moderate right. And so like we actually have 2 mayors, and one's a Republican, one's a Democrat. And the reason why is because our city, in the Chattanooga area, is very much a more balanced, moderate, like, hey, we want people that are going to do the best for us, not anyone who's a part of certain political parties, which I personally like. But, oh, man, that's interesting. Now I'm pulling up these numbers here about how Matt Bevin, I didn't even realize that he had lost Kentucky. That was
it was
off year.
He was not a bad governor, but the minute he got in and he said, no, these teachers unions, not that they have to go, but they have to start losing their power.
Yeah.
Immediately they were like, we don't know who's going to run against him, but we're going to vote for him as long as he supports teachers unions. And of course, Bashir was just like, oh yes, the teachers unions, blah, 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 blah. And I think Kentucky is like 48th or 49th in the nation in education. So we're at the bottom.
Yeah.
So all these teachers unions and stuff, well, I could go in that forever, but all these teachers unions and everything, it's like, you have not helped these kids.
Yeah.
But then they raised school taxes. I just had a friend of mine complaining about their property taxes went up because they increased the school taxes. And it's like, what is it going to?
Wow. And yeah, because for anyone that's like, why are they talking about Kentucky politics? I am a political junkie, so this kind of stuff just fascinates me. Because now I'm just going back into the history of Kentucky, and I'm like, I had no idea that they had a Democrat governor for so long, was Steve Bashir, as you mentioned, back all the way in 2011. And then Bevin won by 10 points the next year. And there was only 30% participation. And then it went up to 42% participation, and that flipped it. So that's kind of crazy. 2023, though, we'll see what happens, and we'll have to check back in when that
I'll
does
be
happen.
curious to see if these restaurant owners will remember what he did, and if the churchgoers will remember what he did.
Yeah.
Because memories are short.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that memories are long after all these shutdowns, though. I really
am.
And speaking of long memories, Andrew Hoyle says, beautiful face. Methinks people will be in for a bit of a shock. Andrew Hoyle, I have a strong feeling that you are very beautiful. So don't you put that out there. I'm sure you're gorgeous. You're from the UK. You have to be pretty. It's kind of a rule.
No, it's not. I got a lot of British friends. I mean, dang.
Do you got something to say to Will Gentry? Is that what you're trying to say?
or Spartan Jeremy or Hunky Chunky, or I found out the other night going over my analytics that almost 50% of my subs are all in England. And I make fun of British people constantly on my channel. So
they just all come in to hang out with you. That's what it is.
I don't know. It's really weird.
It's like they had a meeting or something saying, "Hey, cheerio, chap. We're going to go support this woman."
You, Richard.
Cheerio.
Speaking of Spartan, there he is under his Richard name in chat.
Oh, exposing him. Exposing him.
Nah.
Saying hello to more people. Muhammad Ali Khan, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. Also, on the other chat, 2 people did go over there. So, Muriam Tokumbo says, hello, everybody. Been a minute. Welcome back. And Tim Elf, what's going on? Glad to see you over there, even though no one else was over there at the time. Let's see. Rosetta Allen is in the chat, too. Thank you, Rosetta, for being active in the chat. Laura says, can we watch Meet the Spartans for the 300th stream, please? Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
I was just saying no.
I've never
seen it.
I've never seen it either. I just don't want to. So
They're bad.
It's bad.
That movie's bad. Yeah. All those movies are bad.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, because isn't that kind of the same crew generally or studio that did the Scary Movie films?
Most of the sequels. It's 2 directors. He's done about 8 films, and they're all terrible. Like,
Wow.
I think the Rotten Tomato score for all 8 films adds up to like 16%.
Well, I have to see them all now. You have me. You've now made me intrigued by this.
Now, like, Date Movie is probably the worst film I've ever seen in a movie theater, and there's a movie called Vampire Sucks, which is probably the worst film I've ever seen.
I remember
ever.
seeing a poster for that movie, and it looked terrible.
Yeah, it's a parody of Twilight, so you could understand how bad it
Oh,
is.
bad parodying bad, huh?
Yeah,
A parody of a parody can just not. I can't see how that can be good. I just. If
Yeah.
you're parodying a parody, it's Lord. Anyway, Dean Approve says you're too nuanced and complicated for YouTube. I'll go ahead and speak for Rosetta there. I don't know about that. I'm not a very nuanced person. Rob D says, Odin, I ordered 8 Star Wars books for myself as an early birthday present. My birthday's Wednesday. Well, happy early birthday to you. Remind me on Tuesday and we'll shout you out. And he says, I should have them tomorrow. Which 8 books did you get? And that's awesome, dude. Yeah, when you talk about Legends novels, there are so many great stories there. And the thing that upsets me the most is that there are some great ones on Audible, and there's some really talented voice actors, especially Mark Thompson, who I've talked at length about on this channel, about the amazing voice work that he's done. However, there's a lot of stories that are abridged, and it breaks my heart because I don't want to go into those stories that are abridged, even if it is voiced by someone like Mark Thompson, and there's several that are, because I want the full story. But then also my ADD, it's like I can't, just pick up the book and read it. It's too difficult. So I'm hoping at some point someone is able to get full audiobooks of all those stories. But that's
You're
awesome.
Just difficult.
I am.
And a pain in the neck, and you know nothing about the 80s movies.
Wow. Tell me how you really feel.
Sheesh.
Love you.
Much love. Much love, yes.
Much love.
Much love, yes. Titan, what's going on? He says, it's Odin. How's it going? Muhammad Ali Khan says, will you grow long hairs? I think you look cool with long hairs. I used to have long hair at one time, and then I started to have this bald spot at the very top of my head, and I decided to try and go bald, and I like it. It's easy upkeep. I save a lot of money on shampoo now because I just have to shampoo my beard, which, it's becoming more of a chore as the months go on, but this is my quarantine beard. I'll cut it once, all the COVID stuff's over, which means never, sadly, because they're going to run it as far as they can. Andrew Hoyle says the Poseidon Adventure. What was that a reference to?
Did cruise ships?
Oh, cruise movies, yeah. Okay.
What movies? Yeah, what
Okay.
movies inspired you? Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I was like, wait a minute, what? That makes sense. Context. Eric K says, the couple of cruises that I've been on, yes, lots lost people. No, lots of people. I was like, you've lost people on cruises? That's terrible. Lots of people you do not want to see in Speedos, but some, yes, you do. Yes, I did have Love Boat type experience. Interesting, Eric K. And then he says, bikinis, that is. No. You said Speedo. And that implies something, Eric K. And that's okay.
We've already taken that implication and run with it. Trust me.
Everyone's welcome here, Eric K. It's okay if you like Speedos. Jonathan Aldridge, what's going on, man? Wade Nelson putting the pineapple on pizza. Disgusting. Everyone's welcome here except for people that like pineapple on pizza. That is my one, what's the term for it? Bias, not bias. When you're hateful of a certain group of people. Prejudice. My one prejudice in life is people that like pineapple on pizza. I can't stand those people. And yes, I said those people, meaning people that like pineapple on pizza. Yeah, I went there. Can't take it back. Internet is forever.
Learn some 80s movies. I mean,
I know. As long as there's no pineapple on pizza, I'll watch an 80s movie. Lord Toth, how's it going? Good, sir. Glad to see you in the chat. Hologram Nunchuck. Soul Assassin in here. Unfearder at 224. Vaguely recall Boat Trip. Think I'll rewatch to see Cuba Gooding Jr.'s Oscar-winning levels of acting in this. Oh, he was hilarious in that film. I'm not going to lie. And then Laura says, gay cruises set sail. Yes.
Will is bashing on you now.
Oh, of course he is. Oh, yeah, that's right. British people too. Only British people named Will Gentry. I also am prejudiced against them.
Oh my god!
Only people named Will Gentry.
If you're gonna be a pineapple bigot, I'm out of here. Hashtag hater. Pineapple lives matter.
Oh my goodness. Dina Proof says this ship's going to Miami. Okay, nice. Andrew Hoyle says, funny you say that about bus drivers because when I got on a flight, I asked if the co-pilot is an inflatable doll like an airplane. Oh, that's great. I would just say the egg. Kind of mixing airplane with some Ryan Cannell there.
I thought of a joke and then I had to stop myself because I remembered it's your channel.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you being like, I have something, but wait, I'm not going to say it because this is a PG show.
Actually, I just hurt my lip biting it, so.
Oh no! Lorto says Full House, nice. It is a very full house today. It's a lot of fun. Alex McCarthy says Captain Odin of the Asgard. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Eric K says Captain Ron said, "Watch out for the pirate boss. There are no pirates of the Caribbean." Titan, what do you call a tom on a big boat on a body of water? I don't know. Is there a punchline somewhere? I hope you tagged me in it. I don't know. I'm very confused. Laura says in New York City there was a video of cops using binoculars to look into people's apartment windows. That's creepy, and I believe it's a violation of the right to privacy. So, yeah.
And obviously they have nothing better to do in law enforcement in New York if that's the case.
Yep. And I would say if anyone has the means to take these people to court, take them to court. If you don't have the means, try and find someone who might be able to help you or back your case or join your case and everything, because I honestly am very interested to see how many lawsuits come out of all this quarantine stuff. I think it'll be a lot.
Yeah, that's what my husband says. He's waiting for all the lawsuits to start hitting.
Mm-hmm. It will definitely be a lot, that's for sure. Laura says, there are shenanigans going on in a parking lot. Be right back. Oh, Laura, I hope everything is okay. I hope it's not, I hope that if it's anything, it's a group of people who overheard talk of Boat Trip and were talking about how much they want to go on a cruise. Because that is the right kind of situation. Hopefully it's not anything else. Will Gentry, there he is. Hunky Chunky, Funky Wonky, what? He copy and pasted, oh man, Hunky Chunky. He copy and pasted part of the message from Heimdall. And so he copy and pasted Odin question all one word before a comment or question. He highlighted and pasted that, and then put his message of some of these governors will need to lock themselves down for safety if they keep pulling this crap. Yeah, and again, obviously, I don't think anyone should do violence against anyone, but that is just, you're gonna piss people off enough to lead to that possibly. And Hunky Chunky, yeah, you don't have to post the half the message, man. Come on, man. Eric K. Gavin had people from California Medical Group join him without mask at a lunch party. $1,000 a plate as well. Yeah, that's right. And again, rules for thee, not for me. And the fact that just like a couple days later he said, we're going to have a curfew. It's like, shut up, man. Just get out of here. Pat S., who's a member, Kentucky Fried Politics. Yeah! Tina, you should start we talked about your YouTube channel already, about starting one for movies. You should now you should start a podcast, and that's the title right there, Kentucky Fried Politics.
I don't want to talk politics in a podcast. I'd rather talk movies.
You talked it in this podcast just earlier, but yeah, we'll get to the movies. Don't worry, people. We will get to the movies. Bashu Ashley says, I was stuck on that stream, dude, for 30 minutes. Didn't know you restarted a new one. Bashu Ashley, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. I think it's still, I'm assuming it's the same stream. I don't know what else it could be. But I don't know. Hopefully, I'm just glad you're here, Bashu Ashley, and I hope you're doing well. Pat S. says, we know our own. I'm in Louisiana, and New Orleans doesn't get much worse in politics than that. Pat S., that's a fact. I obviously, as many of you know, I'm a former New Orleanian, born and raised, born and bred, and I'm not very proud of that. And a lot of that is because of the fact of the corruption is so bad. The fact that the last 3 or 4 mayors have all been indicted and have all been charged with crimes. I mean, not going to say that there's nefarious things going on behind the scenes in politics, but they are. It is. It's not good. Alex says, terrible films. Where? I need it. Yes, I know. Alex McCarthy is called Meet the Spartans, and I'm sure you gave it an A+. I'm sure.
No. He probably tongued it if it's that bad.
Geek Truth 64 in the chat. JKD76 is here. Alex says beard cutting is illegal in the bylaws of long beard. Is that the case? Rob T says the 8 Star Wars books I ordered were the Corellian trilogy, the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy, Tatooine Ghost, and Courtship of Princess Leia. Okay, I've never read those before. Let me know how they are. All right, Dina Prove. Hey, pineapple is one thing, but banana slices, no, thank you. I like banana. They're okay. Not on pizza, but Titan says Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he explains it later.
Okay. Pat S. says, how about pineapple on fruit salad? I don't eat salad, so that's also a no-no for me.
Well, that's part of your problem.
I don't need that.
What a many problems you have.
Wow. Now going after my health. I mean, it's one thing.
I wasn't saying your health. I was talking about your mental health. But okay.
It's one thing to go after my movie taste, but now you've just gone after my physical and my mental health. How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Jonathan Aldridge, I like all types of food, so could you forgive me for liking pineapple and pizza? No, you're not forgiven.
Well, I don't forgive you for bashing on it, so ha.
Let's see. Pat S. says, I had a Love Boat experience too. I dated the real Julie McCoy 3 years ago. Unfortunately, she was like 40 years older than me. My mom said, I can't believe I'm 78 and your TV girlfriend is older than me. What? Oh my goodness. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, and let's see. Alex McCarthy says, Meet the Spartans was meh. Oh, really? Now you have taste, Alex? Now you have taste?
You're just faking it.
And then Laura says, I just saved a puppy in our parking lot that had somehow got under our gate. Hero status achieved. Yes. Shout out to Laura saving the puppy.
Good
yes.
deal, Laura.
Gotta save the puppy. All right. So now let's go ahead and go down the line like we normally do with just what's been going on, what you've been watching, consuming, reading, whatever it might be. And let's go ahead and just start down the line once again. So, Mr. Roy, I'm hearing myself in the background. Does someone have me on speaker?
No.
No, I have a headset.
Okay.
Me too.
Why am I hearing myself?
Because technology hates you.
This is true. Is it this thing? Let me double check this. Let me check my little thing. That's muted. That should be okay.
I hope he doesn't hit a button and we go to a third stream.
Oh my goodness, could you
Oh
imagine?
my God.
Could you imagine, eh? Anyway,
Yes, with you. I mean,
Yes, it could happen. Mr. Roy, what you been watching?
Not much. I watched most of these are going to be scary movies because it's October. I watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm,
Didn't really care for it, to be honest with you.
really? Why not?
I'm not really big on slasher films. Yeah, basically like 1/3 of the film is basically a lady just screaming, the guy just chasing her with the chainsaw. I was like, man, this is kind of irritating to watch.
It's like, can we just
Other than
make it
that-
a little bit more interesting? Maybe something a little different. Oh no,
Yeah,
just chasing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I didn't really care for it.
Mhm.
I mean,
Okay.
that's
So was that? So you watched a lot of Halloween films?
Yeah.
Nice. What else did you watch?
I watched the Cannibal Holocaust, which is
Cannibal Holocaust? Is that what you just said?
yeah, it's
I've
really
heard of that one.
it's a really gory film that I really don't recommend to people.
You had me at
Yeah.
Cannibal Holocaust for that.
Yeah, it's a Italian film that's really gory and really it's been banned in like several countries.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, it's basically a found footage movie about people going to the Amazon jungle to look for cannibals and then they end up getting eaten.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's okay-ish. There's some really bad stuff in the movie. It does. There's several scenes where animals get killed, and they're like, "Yeah, these look real," and it turns out, yeah, they are real. So there's actual real animals getting killed in the movie.
That's right.
Oh.
Okay, that's why I've heard of the film before, because it got a lot of flack for. I mean, it's one thing to show people getting killed and eaten, but yeah, the fact that they actually did harm animals in the film. And it's one of those things where it's movies like that, which is why you have to have at the end of other movies, no animals were harmed in the making of this movie, because you have films like this which actually harm. That's ridiculous. Wow.
Yeah,
well, that
Yeah,
makes me sick.
yeah. The movie, I be honest, I really didn't care for it. It's one of those found footage movies that you realize very quickly it doesn't look like found footage.
It's a little
way
too
they edited
professional
it.
for that. A little too
Yeah,
professional.
it looks too professional. It looks professionally bad.
Damn. Wow. Well, were you able to hopefully, wash the bad taste of that film out with a better film after?
Not really. I did watch
no.
some. Yeah, that was the last film. Oh, I watched better films. I mean,
Okay.
I got some better ones. in here.
Okay, good.
I watched the Haunting of Hill House on Netflix.
Okay, I've heard good things about that.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay. I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's probably a really good showcase of well-written characters for the most part.
Mhm.
I mean, the sets are fantastic. I recommend it. Probably the thing I didn't like about the ending's kind of meh.
Yeah, I agree. It is.
Yeah, they had talked about it on EFAB, and they said that the guy that directed and wrote it basically rewrote the ending at the last minute, and you could tell. I mean, it's just comes out of left field. It doesn't feel right when you watch it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Also, I mean, when I watch ghost stories, I like for the ghosts to make sense in the movie, and the ghosts seem to be just there for the audience. They don't really make sense of why they're actually there.
Oh, no.
It's kind of weird.
Huh.
Yeah, that's why I say I got mixed feelings about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else you've been watching?
I bought I took advantage of Sunday Blu-ray sale, so I bought the Universal Classic Monster set.
Oh, yeah. That thing, that's been on sale a couple of times, but they're so... I posted one earlier. I posted a video of Amazon sales. There are some crazy deals going on right now.
Yeah, I got the James Bond collection, and then the Addams Family 2 movie set.
Oh, yes. You know what's crazy is I forget, it was either the first or second one. I mean, obviously, because there's only two. But one of them had never been released on Blu-ray before until that set, which I'm so happy because I feel like that series of films has found new life over the last like couple years, especially because I feel like it was really in more of a cult following where you had people that just loved it so much and watch it every year. And it was building up so much that they actually were justified in saying, all right, yeah, let's go ahead and release a new updated set with new Blu-ray transfers of the film. And I'm happy because now more people are talking about it.
Yeah, it's got a kind of humor. I don't think it's been ever that hadn't been able to replicate through remakes or anything.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think I think both films are kind of timeless.
Oh, for sure. Because some people are like, and it makes sense. A lot of times people will say they like the second one better because of Debbie. But
Yeah.
I think the first one has some great comedic moments in it too.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did manage that Universal set. I watched the first 4 movies that came out. I watched Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, and The Invisible Man.
Yeah.
They're all good movies. Especially The Invisible Man. I was kind of surprised how well that movie was made. The effects they have, the Invisible Man actually being invisible, and it looks pretty convincing for a movie that was made in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So which set did you get for that? Was it the Essential set, the 30 film set?
30 film set.
The 30 film set. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it was down to like $75. It's
Holy
usually around 100. Yeah, it was usually $120 set.
Dude, I was just looking it up to see because I might have tried to pick it up. It is right now back up to $150. So you got it for 70 or $80.
Yeah,
that's a great deal.
Nice.
Yeah, I ended up getting like the James Bond collection for like $65.
Yeah, I got that one too. Yeah,
crazy.
Which
Those
is
crazy deals.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, when you think about that one, 24 films, and if you just do the math on it, you're like, that's really, because some people say that's still a lot of money, and it is. But when you talk about how much it is per film, you're like, that's actually a really good deal. So I'm wondering, I hope that monster set goes back down because I would definitely like to pick that up. The one that I'm saving for though is the Lord of the Rings 4K set, which is coming out the 1st of December. And I don't know, I'm stuck between getting the Steelbook set or the one that comes with the One Ring.
Yeah, I've kind of drifted away from Steelbooks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of having something that the freaking baby. I have to have a plastic case I can just toss down on the table. I don't like having these cases that have to freaking hold with like gloves and you're gonna get scratched up.
Oh no, trust me, I get it. It's just this thing that I never thought I would get into for that reason because they scratch more easily and they're harder to replace and obviously they're more expensive. But ever since I've started getting them, I'm like I like the feel of like the cold steel in the hand.
I mean, it's a really
You're
good
a cold man.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah, the Alita one I think is a real good sample. It's a really good still. I don't know if you ever opened that. I think I sent you the Legend of Oz steelbook.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good looking steelbook.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One that I've loved though is the Psycho one because it's very minimalistic. With red lettering and mostly a black background. So like that one just looked great. I'm very fond though. I'm biased. Anything that has like black on red or red on black just looks great. I mean, that's why like when I got my phone, I was like, I got to get the red on black. It's just something about it. Even though my favorite color is green, like I like red on black. I don't know why.
Because you're weird.
It is, yes. This is another. I feel like I'm getting fact checked right now. I feel like you are Twitter. Telling me that
no, I'm just feeling like trolling you to your face today,
as opposed to trolling me not to my face, but still to my face.
Well, it's not to your face if I'm saying it online because all you're seeing is text.
It's the same thing. It's just digital. It's my digital face. Okay, same thing.
So your digital face is never mind.
Yep. Well, I had a good run, everybody, but I've just been put in my place. So,
out of love, we all love you.
All out of love, yes. Mr. Roy, anything else you've been able to watch or buy as well? Any other sales that you've been seeing?
That's pretty much it. I do have the Back to the Future 4K set, and also I did get that Star Trek 10 movie thing from you.
Oh yeah, dude. Wasn't that a good set?
It's a good set,
Yeah.
especially it doesn't have the J. Abrams ones in there.
Oh Lord.
It's all just the classic ones, and sure, there's some ones that are not so good in there. I think obviously it's a subjective thought there. I haven't seen them all myself, but I know there's some that will be like, oh yeah, these are really good, these are not so good. But yeah, the fact that you get them all and they're all classic, and even the ones that are bad, they still have this nostalgic element to it, and so I think it makes up for anything that might be narratively not as good. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, and actually, because I'm glad that you mentioned those, different Blu-ray deals, because I've been wanting to, and I know that I've heard mixed things about this film, but I've been wanting to get this movie for a very long time, but I've been wanting it to go on sale, and ever since it got released on 4K, I was like, I want to get this. If I'm going to experience it, I want to be able to experience it the best way possible, and I'm trying to see if it is still up online, because it was a pretty good price. It looks like it may have been sold out, but what tends to happen on Amazon is that it'll sell out, and then after a day or so, it'll come back up for the price once another seller decides to start matching because most of these are Best Buy sales that Amazon is matching. But anyway, it was the film Waterworld on 4K, $8. Now, I know what you're thinking. Waterworld. Waterworld.
I sneaked in the Waterworld.
Did you also sneak out of Waterworld? From what I've heard from some people who are not fans of it.
I forgot what movie I went to see, and I still had some time before I was meeting my sisters, and Waterworld was on, and I said, I'll go in there. And there was 2 other people in the audience, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Well, considering I won't go into that rant this time.
But it's a film that I've just heard so many things about it, though, where it's even people that don't like it are still mesmerized by it.
It kind of looks good.
Yeah. But it's not.
And it's not. And it's not the worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
It's weird. I got the Amazon page pulled up.
It's one of the biggest jerks ever made.
Wait, what you got?
I got the Amazon page pulled up. Some of the screenshots they have of the movie are weird.
Because it's Waterworld, but I was like $8 for the 4K. That's probably the cheapest the 4K is ever going to be, because that's, for anyone that hasn't followed this for a long time, Blu-rays used to be the cheapest you could get was like $7 to $10, and over the last I think 3 or 4 years, $5 has been like that standard, like that gold standard where you'll get it a lot of deals, a lot of movies on sale for that. Now, I mean, on days like today, they have a ton of movies on sale. In fact, I almost part of me wants to buy up a bunch of one movie specifically, but you can get these films are available right now for $4 on Blu-ray. You got Terminator 2, which, by the way, great film, terrible transfer. I'm really hoping that James Cameron can fix whatever crap he did with the coloring on those films. But anyway, it's still there. You got a film called Wonder, which was fantastic. John Wick 2, John Wick 1, again, all $4 on Blu-ray right now. The Expendables 3, Rambo 2008, First Blood, Robin Hood, Rambo 3, The Witch, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Sicario. That's the one. Sicario is available for $4 on Blu-ray right now. Part of me kind of wants to buy up like 10 copies of that and do a giveaway, because that film is so freaking good, and for $4, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could talk about physical media all day, because it's a problem.
You do.
It's a problem.
The Shining 4K is $10.
Yeah, that's right. I had picked that one up a couple months ago, I think, when it first got released.
Yeah, if I remember right, that's actually a really good transfer too.
Oh yeah,
so it's a really good pick.
The rule of thumb is the only exception is Terminator 2, but that's because even the Blu-ray transfer wasn't very good, because basically James Cameron played around with the color grading of the movie, and so it looks, I think, was it green, or it's like there's this weird color tinting that was done on the transfer that just does not look good. And people have been kind of complaining about that for a long time, but since he's in Avatar land, he's probably never going to actually fix it, at least not for another 10 years or so.
Well,
sadly.
That's a sucky place to be. I mean,
yeah, it is a sucky place. You're correct.
There's some 4Ks that got bad color transfers, and then there's some that are transferred from 2K sources. The Gremlins 4K is a really good example.
Yeah.
Like the blue, it's not actually worth buying. You can actually buy the set that includes both films for almost the same price. They almost look just as good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Amazon, for telling me that. Sorry, I don't know if y'all heard that in the background, but
We
apparently,
did.
apparently someone's at my front door. Whatever that is. But but yeah, no, but as you mentioned, right, Shining is available for $10 on 4K. War of the Worlds, the one with Tom Cruise, which I'm sure that Tina's a huge fan of. That one's available for $10. Also, if you want to make up for the Star Trek set, since I know that you're very upset that the J.J. Abrams versions aren't on there, you can get Star Trek Beyond. You can get all the Star Treks for $8 on 4K right now. So, if you want, I mean,
Can we choose the dental drill to the temple instead?
it's only $8. I mean, you might as well get it, right? Maybe
No.
But there are some great. Whiplash is another one that's on sale for $10 on 4K. I picked up the Best Buy has a Steelbook 4K for that one, so I've actually just picked that one up. Ordered it earlier today, so I'm actually excited to be getting that one because I love it, and that means I will have a 4K, not a 4K. I'll have a Blu-ray Steelbook of Whiplash to give away in the future too. Mr. Roy, any other films or things you want to talk about when it comes to content?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. Rosetta Allen, have you happened to be watching anything, consuming anything, or have you just been work?
Other than a few standard things I watch every Halloween season, which is basically High Anxiety, Young Frankenstein, Arsenic and Old Lace, those kinds of things.
Very nice.
But that's about it.
Okay.
And of course, tons and tons of work, which I never stop, as you can tell.
That is, yeah, absolutely. But I'm so glad you mentioned those films because Young Frankenstein, great movie. So much fun.
High Anxiety, highly underrated movie of Mel Brooks. Funny as hell and very dark.
Yeah, and I actually own the movie because there's a Mel Brooks set out there that I'm sure is on sale right now too. And it's
oh yeah, I have that whole set.
I haven't seen it yet, to be honest. I haven't seen it.
Watch it, but bear in mind it's designed to spoof a lot of the classic horrors, including a lot of like Hitchcock stuff. So it's got some very creepy, weird scenes because you add his kind of perverted humor with that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
It's definitely on the creepier side. I understand why it became underrated and less people watched it, but it's also really brilliant too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and it's interesting because in that set too, you also have his silent movie that he made called Silent. Was it just Silent Movie?
Silent movie.
I don't like it. I didn't like it. I love Mel Brooks, and there's not a film of his that I have not ever not liked until I saw that film, and I just wasn't a fan. I don't know.
And see, I like it. I don't love it. I think the best part of it is that the only person to talk in the whole movie is a mime.
Yes.
I think it's the same reason why I can't get into it is probably the same reason you can't. It's really hard for people like us to focus that well.
Mm-hmm.
And try to focus on something silent's never been great for me.
Okay.
And you're probably the same way.
And that's what's interesting though, is that because I love films like, for instance, you had more recently a silent movie that even won an Oscar, The Artist.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Artist. I thought The Artist was great. And then also going back to some silent classics, anything Buster Keaton, also very entertaining and can keep my attention.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that weird thing because it seems like it would be something that would be harder for me to focus on. But yeah, I guess I just didn't find it. I think the reason why for me is because when it comes to comedy, especially, and Mel Brooks especially, most of his comedy is very much content. It's not really typically going to be like physical comedy necessarily. There's definitely some physical comedy in his movies, but it's more so jokes, right? It's more so written stuff, things that they're written out in the way that they are. And so I think that's the reason why is because
he throws a little physical into a whole lot of actual wordplay jokes.
Yeah, where in that film, I feel it was more physical comedy and it just didn't translate for me as much.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's a fair assessment, though.
Yeah. So how has work been for you?
Well, I know I was working on the eagle drawing earlier.
Yeah, go ahead and blow you up so that way people can see.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the one I'm working on right now, I don't know if you want me to show.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is beautiful.
So that was the eagle one that's partway done. I was letting it dry because I when I'm drawing, I use a lot of white paint in it too, just as how I shade and detail.
Yeah.
And yeah, the one I'm finishing right now, actually for the black and white, is actually for the pinups for military charities. So
Nice.
that's why I wasn't sure if you want me to show you. It's dressed. There's nothing seen.
If as long as it's PG, maybe
there's
PG.
nothing that you wouldn't see in a lot of movies.
Oh,
that's
not.
But yeah, that's what I'm actually working on right now for that one.
That looks great too. Has anyone ever told you that you should be an artist?
I'm enjoying getting into my artwork more and more in these projects more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was my whole thing. Is I'm doing this book that's going to be all military pinups and retro styles, and it's going to be posted as a Lulu sale, and with a good chunk of every sale going straight to military charities.
That's awesome. Please.
Hunky Chunky is asking for a specific thing.
Yeah, I saw that. It's not
as naughty as he's trying to make it sound. Actually.
Okay. Yeah. Hunky Chunky
he's
is trying to.
Calling it that because it's designed after one of the old bomber style outfits. It has little stars on.
All right,
the
let
camera
me blow that up. Oh, nice.
That was the one I finished on my stream yesterday while he was trolling me.
I can see why he.
Wow.
I can see why he would call that star boob. Because literally, there's a star in that area. So
yeah, he trolls me well. What can I say?
he seems to be a very literalist personality. Get it? You get it because there's a star on it. You get it because there's a star on it.
Well, he's a Brit, so
this is true. But yeah,
what is it with Brits?
They're an odd breed. Yeah, and I just
breed is a good word for it.
It is a good word for it. Yeah, absolutely. But nah, that's awesome. And yeah, please let me know when you have the sales going on to help support military charities, because
I do have right now. I'm taking any donations people want to send on PayPal to help pay for it, because I still have to pay for the art supplies and some of the artists and all this stuff to build this book.
Okay.
And that's not cheap. I can give you that link easy.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go ahead and share it on the stream, and anyone that wants to support her work can absolutely do that. And yeah, I mean, obviously, especially because, the same thing happened when the K-Man was doing his release and he was raising money for suicide prevention, right? These are great causes for both of y'all, right? For both of y'all to be promoting in that way. And so, yeah, seriously, for anyone that wants to help support, their work, and in this case, for Rosetta's work, trying to get more money getting sent to military campaigns. And I'm hoping that, again, as you can see, very, very talented artist is Rosetta. And I think that it's something that could end up raising a lot of money for these military charities. And so if that's something that, again, and this is why we always say, if you can give something, great. If you can't, hey, just sharing it and talking about it is there. So anyway, the PayPal link has just been posted.
The other thing I was saying, and I've been telling everybody, is anything anybody can give is appreciated. If anybody wants to give big amounts or anything, if they do like the 7,500 range, I'll work it out so they can get one of the original artworks once it's uploaded into the book and stuff, so they can get something back for doing that. Yeah, absolutely. Except for Hunky Chunky. I wouldn't trust him with any of those. I don't know. He's been such a good troll to me for so long. It was last year. He was the reason half the people came on my stream that did, is he was always helping push people to come visit me. That's nice. But he's been a pretty good friend for a long time, actually. And obviously, we're just playing around. Whenever we make fun of Will Gentry or Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey. No. When I make fun of Will Gentry, I mean it. Oh, my bad. I misspoke there. So, Hunky Chunky, you are loved. Will Gentry, you are not. But anyway, that's awesome, Rosetta. And again, thank you for doing that. And again, also thank you for doing that for military charities as well. Again, something that I think is something that's very needed. With all this stuff this year, they always fall through the cracks more anyways. And there's all the social issues, all the anxieties, all the mental issues that they already deal with are so bad this year, trying to get help with all the craziness in the world. And I know so many veterans who are really falling through the cracks right now. Yeah. And this is just one way I want to try to do something back for them. Just like once I start selling this, the little bit of money that doesn't go to the charities, I'm going to try to save some in an account, and every so often send a case of the book to the troops. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. I mean, again, it is something that definitely needs, I think, to be done,
more of, because as you said, so many have fallen through the cracks. So many have been struggling because people fail to realize, especially these governors, that they look at it and they say, I'm just saving face because I'm trying to quote unquote stop the spread, when all they're doing is making it harder for people like former military members who need help and need to go out and need to go to therapy and need to sit in group and talk. And they're taking that away, or at the very least making it more difficult for those people. And that is something, as I said before, I think that's what's going to lead to a lot of lawsuits, especially for people and families that have been impacted by the shutdowns in a mental health capacity as well. So thank you for doing that, Rosetta. That's awesome. All right. So before getting to ZK Man, let's just catch up with some people in the chat. I don't know if I'll be able to catch up with everybody, but Laura at 258 said, I do love audiobooks, so I'll have to check her out. So I don't know which author that was about, but yeah, audiobooks are great, and I love Star Wars audiobooks, especially the ones that are done well. Rob D says, my grandmother already told me she's getting all the old movies I have on my Amazon wish list for my birthday and Christmas: North by Northwest, Rear Window, Rope, White Heat, and more. Great list of films there, and actually a film that I think is incredibly underrated, especially when you talk about the specifically when it comes to Hitchcock, is absolutely anything that deals with the movie Rope. Rope is probably one of my favorite Hitchcock movies because it deals with very deep and dark philosophical questions about murder and about getting away with murder, especially, and basically this almost elitist mentality that actually exists. There are people that hold to this philosophy that if someone can kill somebody, that if they can, it means that they are superior and that they should be allowed to do so. There are people that hold to that philosophy. And so to see that play out in the movie is fascinating. And also, it was revolutionary because all the takes in the film are strung together 10 to 15-minute shots, long takes. And the only reason why it wasn't a single take was because the technology was not there yet. But it was revolutionary because it was some of the longest takes in film up to that point. So that's a great list of films, Rob D. Let's see. Dean approved, tagged at 302. We need more slapstick these days. What happened to it? I agree with that kind of, because some slapstick doesn't translate as well today. Audiences have changed, taste have changed, and there's some slapstick that can still work, but there is still a lot also that I feel like more modern day slapstick would be examples like old school. People might not agree with this assessment, but I would say like old school Adam Sandler films. I think we're a more modern slapstick, and not traditional slapstick, but more of a modernized, like kind of kooky, quirky kind of comedy. And so I just think that even those films don't translate for people today either. Like there's some people that will go back and I still think they're hilarious, but there's some that will look back to that and say that's just stupid. And I think some people look back to classic slapstick in the same way. And so I think that's one of the reasons why Dean approved. Doesn't translate as well.
Mm-hmm.
Titan says, oh yes, physical media rules. You should do a video with Robert Meyer Burnett. He now has a new segment just for physical media. Hey, have you ever invited me on to talk about it? If I could work it out in my schedule, I would. But as I mentioned previously, doing extra stuff right now is just kind of out of the cards. And for good reason, because baby Thor needs my attention. As does Freya. Jonathan Ulrich, you could use your godly power. Huh?
Baby Thor.
Baby Thor, baby Thor.
Babies always win.
Babies do always win, but so do happy wives or happy lives. Jonathan Ulrich, you could use your godly powers to eliminate her. Who? Who am I eliminating?
Who?
Context, please. I don't want to eliminate. Who are you talking about? Inferior says J.J. Abraham, he says, J.J. Abraham presents Star Trek The Lens Flare Collection. It's on everyone's.
Awesome.
It's on everyone's wish list. Actually, you know what that is? You know how we just talked about how some things don't translate? Back in the day, if you were bad, you would get coal in your stocking. Now, if you're bad, you get the Lens Flare Collection in your stocking. You're welcome. You are welcome. Laura says, I think God is mad at me for working on Sunday, so I'm going home before anything else happens. Oh, man, yeah, because she had said earlier that her power went out, and she was at work. But obviously, being in Cali where there's these rolling blackouts, I'm not too surprised. But that's awful. I hope everything's okay, Laura. And hey, at least you saved that puppy. Hold on to that, because puppies are important. Andrew Hoyle says, I snuck into the Jason Momoa Conan film once, then snuck back out about 5 minutes later. Oh, yes. Geek True 64, I just picked up Waterworld 4K for $8. Yep, same here, bro. I never thought I'd buy that movie, but by today's standard, it's like Mad Max Fury Road. Depends on who you talk to. I love Fury Road. Some don't. I will say this much. It's not a Mad Max movie. It is a Furiosa movie, which is why the fact that they're making a Furiosa movie makes me think, so Mad Max will be the lead to make up for the... I don't know. That's just my thought. Pat S. I love my old technology so much. I still watch First Cut Unmodified Star Wars A New Hope on VHS. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I love old tech because it hasn't been altered. You know, so like the VHS Star Wars you have is completely unaltered, original completely. But I do like new technology as well, to a point. I love physical media, especially because it's physical. You can have it. No one can touch it once you own it. No one can change anything that's on the discs. But I just love the quality because VHS in comparison to modern day Blu-ray is just it's not even close. It's just not even close. And VHS, especially since it's magnetic tape, there is no, like with film, there's this quality to it, like there's the film grain, the dirt, like there's just elements of, just unique stuff. And also the quality can be very high, especially if your projector's good too, and your print is good. Whereas VHS, it's like, there is a standard, I guess, or there's a quality to it, but it's not one that I'm fond of. It's not one where you're like, oh, you know what I really want? I want to have that old VHS copy, because the colors are just so much better. No one says that. Like, no one says that. Anyway. Titan says, you need Shutter Island 4K plus alternate endings. I do like Shutter Island, and I have heard the alternate endings are better in some cases, so I might have to check that out. Yeah. Dean Approved, what's your favorite film that uses subversion while also being satisfying? Subversion of expectations done well. There are ones that I've mentioned previously, but I can't think of it on the spot. Anyone on the panel? A film that subverted expectations but did it well?
I don't know. I'm very distracted.
Oh,
Psycho. And I will say Psycho.
Okay.
Because Psycho was thought to be... People thought it was going to be a failure because what do you find out? The lead gets killed halfway or even before halfway through the movie. And people said, what are you doing? But it worked.
Yeah.
Subversion of expectations. By the way, spoiler warning, the lead actress dies halfway through the movie.
Yeah, if you don't know that after 50 years or so. I would have to say, and somebody brought the movie up in the chat, and I told them that, it almost traumatized me, is Scarlet Street, that was directed by Fritz Lang.
Okay.
Edward G. Robinson is in it, and it just goes through so many twists and turns that by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I didn't see that ending coming. And oh my God, now I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I kept like going through it in my head. And I was like, whew, I don't know how he got away with it. So,
okay.
And there's another movie that my mother liked.
Yeah.
Angel Face, I think is the name of it. It's from the 40s. It's film noir, 40s or 50s. Yeah. And it has an ending you do not see coming. When it happens, your mouth will just hit the floor and you'll go, what? And then when you kind of think about it, it's like, I should have seen that coming, but I didn't. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess subversive expectations would include any film with a twist surprise ending. Because kind of by its very nature, it's subversive.
If it's done well.
If it's
not done well, you still see through it, even though it's supposed to surprise you.
Oh yeah, I mean that's been one of the main complaints of modern day filmmaking is that they subvert for the sake of subverting and not for good storytelling. Obviously, we had that happen a lot in The Last Jedi, for instance, where it was subversion done terribly. But there are a lot of good films out there with subversion of expectations. Let's see. Oh, it's the hubby. I see the hubby. I see the hubby. She's not listening to me. Oh, well. Anyway, let us see. Inferior says, I've been rewatching Star Trek Enterprise and find myself enjoying a lot more than I did originally. That's what Alex, insert expletive of choice here, Kurtzman has done to the franchise. Yeah. It's interesting how you can go back and look at things that people would have considered in the past to be like poorer or weaker Star Trek. But because of what we have now, it's now like, at least it's passable. At least it's like, at least it makes sense. At least it works versus modern day stuff, which is not so good. Jonathan Aldridge says, would you ask Tina to paint you in the mythological image of the god Odin? Tina, do you paint?
No.
I was like, wait, what? I don't remember her ever saying that she painted, but
my painting is like little stick figures.
I want to say I bet he was trying to say Rosetta since we were talking.
I told him I didn't paint that. I think he meant Rosetta. So I was like, when did I start painting?
So Rosetta needs to paint me as the mythological image of the god Odin. However, I would say also have a crossover with Starboob, and you've got something.
Oh my gosh.
I want to have a girlish figure, okay? All right?
No.
I want the head of a god and the body of a woman. I don't know. That didn't make any sense. Anyway, Pat S.
Odin, you're disturbing me right now.
You're welcome. Pat S. says, did Johnny Depp do a movie where he did a Buster Keaton impersonation, then marry a 20-year-old and mistreat her? Buster Keaton. Did Johnny Depp do Buster Keaton? The room is silent, so I will assume.
Oh, I think somebody in the chat said it was Benny and June.
Oh, okay. That was Bruce. Yeah, Bruce says Beanie and June.
I've never seen that. I know of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Titan, thank you very much for the support. Odin. Meow. Thank you for that, Tina. Titan. Tina Titan. There's some similarities there, I guess. Will Gentry then also said, believe me, I know, when talking about the hatred that we have.
Yeah, he was talking about when I said when I make fun of him, I mean it.
Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and jump now to ZK-Man. ZK-Man, what you been watching and keeping yourself entertained with recently?
Pretty much for November so far, I've only seen a couple of movies. Of course, in October, it was pretty much one movie every day, pretty much celebrating Halloween all month.
Nice.
Of course, I had all the normal ones that I see every year, like the Nightmare on Elm Street and ones like that, ones that I catch every year. As far as anything new that I just recently seen, the new, well, sort of new. It came out in April. The Chris Hemsworth Extraction movie.
Oh, how was that?
It turned out pretty good.
Okay.
It more or less relied on action more than anything, but I mean, it still had enough story to it to where it was interesting.
Okay.
Pretty much follows him as being like a for hire mercenary that ends up having to try to save a drug lord's son from another drug lord. And takes place, I think, in Bangladesh, I think, where it was supposed to have taken place.
Yeah. I haven't seen it myself. I've heard mixed things about it. People love it, and then they say the ending is where it gets divisive about whether people like it or not. I did hear it's getting a sequel, though.
Yeah. I don't know if... Because I guess it all depends on how you look at it, because they... It's weird, because as far as like... I'd say, given it a rating, I'd probably say maybe like a 6 as far as I'm concerned, out of a 10.
Okay, so a decent film.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. What was your favorite of the Halloween films that you watched?
Pretty much, probably out of the ones that I watched this year, I'd probably say Monster Squad, just because it's pretty much a classic. back in, I think it was made in '87, where he had all the different monsters and kids were trying to get them to back to where they came from.
Nice. Yeah, it's always I always love talking to people about their favorite Halloween films because everyone has like a different tradition. Like everyone has like a different series of films or one specific film that they're drawn to. My family, it's always been we talked about this a little earlier, the Addams Family films, where they're just fun. They're just fun movies. And this year, because of Baby Thor, I didn't have a chance to watch a lot of the Halloween films that I normally would. And so the one film that we did watch though was Addams Family Values. And so it's always fun to talk to people about what their kind of go-to Halloween films are.
Yeah, there's one, it's more or less, it's just became a tradition because I've seen it every year. It's based on the old Ray Bradbury book, The Halloween Tree. It's basically the story behind it is that you have this character that actually in the movie was voiced by mine went blank.
Trust me, that happens to me all the time, so I get it.
Oh, I can tell.
Thanks. Thanks for the
I
reminder
told
that
you I'm just in a mood today. Please don't mind me.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it follows a group of kids trying to save the pumpkin soul of their friend, where they go on adventures, basically through time, and it's kind of like an educational type deal where you get to, while you're watching the movie, you're actually learning about different cultures and how they celebrate the Day of the Dead and stuff like that, going all the way back to the time of Egyptians all the way up to modern time.
Did you say pumpkin soul?
Yeah, apparently, according to the movie, anybody that passes away on Halloween is instead of a regular soul, they consider it a pumpkin soul.
Oh,
fascinating.
Mm.
Huh.
Ew.
You know what? Random segue. You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember the show The Adventures of Pete and Pete?
Yeah.
Do you remember the pumpkin eaters?
Yeah.
That's my mind went to that immediately when I heard pumpkin soul. I'm like the pumpkin eaters? They were this group of bullies on Halloween that would wear pumpkins as helmets, essentially. And I love that episode. That was such a great Halloween episode. Anyway, sorry, random segue aside. That sounds interesting, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good for
Nice.
it being a cartoon type movie, but it's just something that I've just gotten into a habit where I watch it at least one time every Halloween.
Yeah. Very cool. Anything else you've been watching?
I know the movie's been out for a while, a couple of years, but seen Jackie Chan's The Foreigner.
What did you think about it?
It was definitely different than what he normally does. I kind of like the story.
Yeah.
I
asked because I loved it. I love that movie.
Yeah. It gave a little bit more depth to how his acting, instead of the constant comedy type fighting that he always does. It actually showed his range in acting skills. Yeah,
it showed that he's actually like a good actor. Like that film I think that is his best acting performance in his entire career. And for those that don't know the basic story, he has to play essentially a grieving father, after having lost a loved one. And so it's just like, you just honestly feel his emotion, and you think to yourself, this is the same guy that's been doing Rush Hour. And again, I love those Rush Hour movies, but it's, you think about that, which is obviously he started off his career doing, obviously the martial arts films, which were all a lot of fun because he did a lot of his own stunts and his own fighting. And then he took that and then brought it into comedic space too. And then he kind of just fell off the map for years. And then he comes back with The Foreigner. And I remember it was like, this is phenomenal. I never knew that he actually had like dramatic chops.
It kind of makes me wish that I would have watched it sooner, because like when it was first advertised, I said yeah I was going to see it, but then I kept on putting it off and putting it off, and then finally it was actually just a few days ago I actually watched it, and I actually did enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's a great film, and I'm sure there will be some people in the chat who have comments about whether they liked it or not. But yeah, if you have not seen it, I recommend it. And we were talking about films on sale. I believe that film is also perpetually on sale for like at least $5, and I think it's easily worth it for $5 on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And how are things going with your album? Going still pretty well. Anything that we need to promote or mention?
Pretty much the album itself is actually still doing pretty decent. It's probably going to be another, because the way that they release the information to me, it depending on where it comes from, be it Apple, Spotify, whatnot, they all send out their stuff anywhere from a month to 3 months after release dates. So there's still going to be some things that won't come out until probably the end of next month. But so far, what I've been seeing, just the streams alone, not even counting mechanical or writers' royalties and stuff like that, I've actually done pretty decent, to where so far I've actually been able to donate $300 to the charity.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I just posted the link, everybody, to the K-Man's Twitter account. And you can follow him over there for more information. Also, there's links to his website, and you can go and support his album over there. And that's awesome, dude. And for those that were not here when we first promoted it a couple months back, he's using the funds, or he's using the extra money and cash that's been made off of it to help go support organizations that deal specifically with prevention, suicide prevention. So great cause, very similar to what Rosetta was doing earlier as well, with getting and saving up, rather raising money for military and for former military especially. Obviously, I think there's kind of this connection there, right? Because unfortunately, with a lot of former military, you tend to see a higher percentage of people with depression, and unfortunately a higher suicide rate too. And so I feel like both of those are connected. And so it's important for us to obviously to raise money for them and to bring more attention to it. So thank you for doing that, man. And that's awesome to be able to raise that money for them.
It's a great feeling to be able to say that I was able to do that, even if it just becomes just that small amount.
Yeah, absolutely. Because every bit counts. Every bit matters. Right. So that's awesome, definitely. Dude. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just going back to the chat for a little bit before getting to Tina and her films, because Lord knows we're gonna have a nice list of movies. Tina, get that list ready. Get that list ready. All right, good. Ready. Go ahead, it's ready. Yes. So Inferior says us Brits have a refined sense of humor. Is that what you call it, Inferior?
That's not what I call it.
Lord Toth says he got to run. Lord Toth, I hope you're doing well, Dan. Let's see. All right. Got up with that. Rob D, in regards to old tech, CB radio will be the only form of communication if Mad Max ever actually happened. That's a fair point. Not going to lie. Part of me is kind of wanting to become a mild, not that major, but a mild prepper. So I've been looking at things like Life Straw and other things like that, and maybe getting like a food supply or something, which is stuff that you should probably have anyway, just, in case there's a natural disaster.
There's nothing wrong with prepping as long as people don't take it to the point of, preparing what they're going to do to people if that things happen in psycho levels.
Yes. And that's
prepping is natural. It's what we've always done in this society.
Mm-hmm. And that's why one of the first things I wanted to do as a prepper was to download all of Wikipedia, because that's the most important thing in my mind.
That's sad. I mean,
it's awesome. I have a drive that I think just came in during the stream. And at one point, I'm going to have a flash drive that has all of Wikipedia on it. That is awesome. That is so cool. The little things in life, I tell you, the little things in life. Inferior says the only older tech people think is better than current tech is probably vinyl. No. So yeah, Inferior, that's correct. So vinyl for music, absolutely. There is actually legitimate objective reason as to why vinyl is preferred, because the sound quality is just better. But the same thing would go for film. The best film experience is actually going to be on actual 35 to actually really 70 millimeter would be the best, but 35 to 70 millimeter prints because you get just the highest quality. And that's why, as we were saying, we were talking about this earlier with Mr. Roy, that's why these 4K transfers, for the most part, are fantastic. If you have an older film that is getting released on 4K, which means that it was shot originally on 35 to 70 millimeter, it means that the version you have is going to be the best possible version that film could ever be. Whereas with modern day movies that are shot at 2K or at 4K, though not many are shot at raw 4K nowadays, you can only ever get so far. You can only ever have such a quality because of the limitations of digital media. So yeah, vinyl for music and 35 to 70 millimeter for film.
Yeah, you gotta be careful too with some records, especially newer ones, because they're sourced from digital sources.
Great point.
Yeah, it's an analog record, but it's recorded. It's digital recorded.
One is not like the other. It's like, okay, oh, I got a vinyl. Yeah, your vinyl is from a recording that was originally on a CD. Yeah. Not going to be a lot of depth to that recording. But it's a fair point. I'm glad you bring that up, though, because it is something where, as we say, like some people, that's why there's sites dedicated specifically for physical media for movies, dedicated to saying it's true 4K or it's fake 4K. Because there is a difference, and I think that people think honestly, oh, I have the 4K and that's the best version. It's like, yeah, you have a 2K or sometimes even a 1080p movie that's been upscaled to 4K, which just means that the image is bigger, but it's not any sharper. Good job. Versus some movies that, as we mentioned, especially older films, when you have the actual source material being the 35 to 70 millimeter print, the actual copies of the film, and not because could you imagine if someone made a 35 millimeter print, but it was from a digital source? That'd be terrible. That's anathema. That's anathema. That's what that is. Never allowed. Andrew Hoyle. Oh, this is very sensual, and I think this is probably for Rosetta. Andrew Hoyle says, "Draw me like one of your French girls."
Oh my God.
What is with the UK people?
I told you something about it. They like me, I swear.
Matthew Hyland, what's going on, man? Glad to see you in the chat. Hunker Chunky says, does Rosetta need to paint you with boob armor? Yes.
Oh my God.
Plot armor, more importantly, but yes. That is my answer, is simply yes. 35 millimeter digital, what? Exactly, Soul Assassin. All right, and that brings us to Tina, what you been watching?
I'm gonna start with the best movie I saw. I've been binging a lot of Bond movies because Pluto TV has a Bond channel, and with the death of Sean Connery, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a few days and watch a bunch of them I've never seen before. But the best movie I saw in the last month was, and I'm gonna mangle this, Kagamusha. It's an Akira Kurosawa movie that was made in 1980, and I was floored during the closing credits to see that George Lucas and Francis Ford Coppola's names were on there as executive producers, I think.
Wow.
And so when I went to look into the history of the movie, they were responsible for it being released in the United States because both of them, of course, are Kurosawa fans. The movie is kind of loosely based on an actual event in Japanese history back during, I think, the 16th century, when a lot of the different tribes were at war, and there was a leader named Shingen. And his motto was wind, forest, fire, mountain, swift as wind, silent as a forest, fierce as fire, immovable as a mountain. And in the movie version, they find a thief who resembles him. Mm-hmm. And so when he is killed, they have been teaching the thief, how to ride, how to fight, but to fill in as a duplicate. Mm. And that's basically what the movie is about. Now, that is not what happened in reality. They did not have a replacement step in, but it is based on someone who actually existed and a very, very brutal battle that did happen. So that was the best movie that I saw of all of them. But of my James Bond movies, I really liked Thunderball and From Russia with Love and Diamonds Are Forever. Those were all Sean Connery.
Nice.
I liked, well, I gave these 3 stars. I have a soft spot for Live and Let Die. I saw that when I was a kid. And of course, it's in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked Jane Seymour as an actress. She played, what was it, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, years later.
Oh, yeah. I remember that show.
And I always liked her.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched that again. Oh, and Yaphet Kotto, who is better known for Alien. He was in the original movie. He's the bad guy, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Big. And I also like Tomorrow Never Dies, which I don't think I had ever seen before. Yeah,
Really?
I kind of liked it.
I see your ratings here. Why do you hate Moonraker, especially compared to Tomorrow Never Dies?
So stupid! Oh my gosh! And like Moonraker. Oh, here's the line that got me in Octopussy. He's like, "How did you get that name?" And she says, "Well, I liked octopi, and my father gave me that name, Octopussy." I'm like, "No, your dad shouldn't give you a name like Octopussy."
It's like, I don't believe you. You're making that up. I don't believe you.
Make that up. For Your Eyes Only, Roger Moore at that point was getting so old that when he and the Bond girl got together at the end, I was like, this is very uncomfortable. I do not like seeing this. Man with Golden Gun, the only thing I liked was that Christopher Lee was the villain and he had 3 nipples.
For the record, I have not seen a lot of the James, like that's why I bought the collection, because I want to actually watch all the James Bond films. But I had no idea Christopher Lee was a villain, let alone a villain with 3 nipples, you said?
He has 3 nipples because when they first show him, it's like he's on the beach with Maud Adams, who's a very beautiful Bond girl, and they used her twice. He's on the beach, he has his shirt open, and I'm like, why are they showing his chest in a close-up? And then I realized he's got 3 nipples.
Was that a part of his character arc, or was it just
that's part of his character arc, because they're like, when they tell Bond, no one's ever seen him before, he's this master assassin, but he has 3 nipples, and it's like, well, if nobody's ever seen him, how do they know he has 3 nipples?
No one has ever seen his face, but we know he has 3 nipples.
Look, people focus on the important parts, so the face isn't that important. Okay, we got it.
But I'm not going to give anything away, but it was okay. And
you've given the whole thing away when you mentioned 3 nipples.
The whole thing away with the 3 nipples, but Hervé Villachez, who used to play Tattoo on Fantasy Island, he's also in it. And the scene where he upset me the most was when he was flinging wine bottles at Bond, and I was screaming, "Not the wine! Not the wine!"
I feel like that's a movie that both you and Steph should watch. That both you and Steph should have watched together, because I think both of y'all would have had that same connection of "not the wine,
not the wine," and "The World Is Not Enough."
Mm-hmm.
That was okay, but I think I mentioned in the chat last night, I like Roger Moore when he played the Saint. Simon Templar, and that was one of those series. I saw it when it was in reruns when I was growing up, and I loved him as the Saint.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad he got to play James Bond, but it's kind of like Pierce Brosnan. I think Roger Moore was originally up for James Bond, and they gave it to Sean Connery. Then Roger Moore rolls along, and it's like, okay, he's not quite too old yet, but then you see him just getting older and older, and that's why I said in For Your Eyes Only, when he and the Bond girl are making out, I'm like, this is And Pierce Brosnan got screwed out of playing Bond because NBC would not let him out of his contract on Remington Steele.
Okay.
So by the time Remington Steele went off, then Pierce Brosnan became Bond, and it was like, I was happy because I always liked Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Same thing with Tom Selleck. CBS screwed him over because he was Lucas's and Spielberg's first choice for Indiana Jones. And CBS was like, nope, if they want him, we can't let him out of this contract. So Tom Selleck didn't get the part. But, Bruce said he loved the thing. Yeah, I think it's a cool show. I started watching it in reruns on FETV, I think it is. And it holds up. It's like James Bond, but he doesn't have all the gadgets and everything.
Okay.
And the only other movies I saw, Nathan had to comment on these. I've been watching a lot of MST3K and Riff Tracks. So some of these great movies have been, and I gave all of those 3 stars, but that's only because they were being riffed. I would never, under any other circumstances, give these movies more than, say, 1.5 stars.
Oh, I'm sure you love them. I'm sure that you love them even without the commentary.
Oh, like the Puma Man.
Yes. We all know you have a poster of the Puma Man on,
yes.
on your office wall.
I didn't even know pumas could fly.
That's fantastic.
And he doesn't even turn into a puma. He wears this like short cape and he has a belt, and there's some Aztec guy and there are aliens, and Donald Pleasance, who, oh my gosh, Donald Pleasance, who, like Cameron Mitchell, was one of those great actors. And it's like, why are you doing movies like Puma Man and Frankenstein Island? What happened to you? I figure we're going to see Russell in a Puma Man movie or something, playing a bad guy at some point. Supersonic Man, which is about an alien who sent to Earth to start one of those I'm going to take over the world villains, who is played by Cameron Mitchell. And his tagline is, "May the forces of the galaxy be with me." So I guess that's to keep Lucasfilm from suing him by saying, "May the force be with me."
The forces of the universe be with me. I need to come up with my own catchphrase using that to avoid copyright.
Yes, and he lifts bulldozers and he turns guns into bananas. I haven't figured that out.
Guns into bananas, you say?
Yes.
Now, does he take those bananas and put them on his pizza?
No.
Okay. Someone in the chat is going to be very happy to know that, because...
Yes. But I think Supersonic Man is one of those movies, it was either Spanish or Italian, that they dubbed it into very bad English.
Ah, okay.
And it's got a robot in it who, oh my gosh, the robot was so slow, and it was stupid. Outlaw of Gore, which is based on, I didn't even know this. There's like a series of books set in the Gore galaxy or planet, and if the SJWs ever find out about the Gore series, they will lose their freaking minds, because they're, even to me, they sound very misogynist, and the women are usually very mistreated, but the movie's terrible. And I think it's an Italian movie that was dubbed into very bad English, and has another fine actor in it, Jack Palance, who I guess needed to pay his bills and took a role as the high priest in it. So it's bad. Then this is the one Nathan was asking me about, Frankenstein Island.
What?
It is directed by Jerry Warren, who is also known as directing one of the worst movies of all time, The Wild, Wild World of Batwoman, which has nothing to do with DC, and they even have a disclaimer at the beginning of that. Because it has nothing to do with anything. Frankenstein Island is about 3 or 4 goofy balloonists that crash on Frankenstein Island, where you have these leopard-clad women running around and they dance with snakes, and they smoke from bongs. And
you had me at balloonist.
That sounds that.
Oh my god!
What?
And then they meet Cameron Mitchell is in this. Here you go, another fine actor, and for some reason, I guess he needed to pay the bill, so he's in Frankenstein Island playing a bum. The island is run by a mad scientist named Dr. Sheila Frankenstein.
Dr. Sheila?
Sheila is married to Dr. Van Helsing.
Oh, good God.
Van Helsing admits he's 200 years old. But somehow they are drawing the blood from the leopard-clad bikini ladies who are part alien, I think.
Oh.
And occasionally, John Carradine, another fine actor who I guess needed to pay the bills, will appear in a hologram and say something about the power, and then he'll fade out and he'll come back 15 minutes later. Nathan asked me, is this movie in any way related to the Frankenstein movies? I said, there is no way I would put this trash fire up there with other Frankenstein movies.
So this will not be in the Universal Classics collection of 30 films.
Hell no.
Okay. Darn it. Okay, well.
And at the end, a creature who resembles the Boris Karloff monster pops out of a lake. He flings his arms out like, ta-da, I'm here, folks. An hour and a half into the movie's almost over. And he comes out of the lake and he waves his arms around and knocks over stuff and throws stuff and punches people. The fight scene at the end is one of the worst choreographed scenes I've ever seen in my life. And that's saying a lot. So that was Frankenstein Island.
That's a film I have to see now.
It's on Pluto TV all the time.
Sold me on this film. And of course, Soul Assassin says, leopard-clad women. Where is this island? For science, of course.
For science.
And you're mentioning fine. It is. You were mentioning fine actors, and I was waiting for you to mention the finest of all actors, who is notorious for choosing terrible films to pay for his house. I was waiting for you to have mentioned Michael Caine, but sadly he's not in this film.
He is not in it. I don't even know if he was even into his career.
Yeah, but I'd say he probably would have been pretty young then.
Yeah. Let's see. The other MSTK, I saw a movie called Danger with several exclamation points, Death Ray.
Oh. And
it's a James Bond ripoff. Yet again, it's either Italian or Spanish, and they dubbed it into very bad English.
Mm-hmm.
We all know the iconic Bond theme song.
Mm-hmm.
This is Danger, Death Ray. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 da ba. Ba ba da ba ba ba. Ba 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 ba.
Why do I feel like I should be in like a jazz club? Da 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 da. Or not a jazz club, but a I guess rhythm and blues or classic. I don't know. Da 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 da.
I know. That's the theme song, and they play it through the whole movie. And it's like, yeah, that's right up there, iconic with Bond. But yeah, some scientist builds a death ray to bring peace to the world, and then of course gets kidnapped.
Yes.
And our hero's name is Bart Fargo.
Now, Tina, you have to be lying. The character's name in a film is called Bart Fargo?
Yes, and he's the hero. He's our James Bond.
Should have been Fart Bargo instead.
Say that 3 times.
Exactly. Fart Bargo.
Let's see. Moon 02, which is kind of an interesting movie. The only person that's in it that anybody might know is Catherine Schell, who I think was on Space 1999, and she might have been a Bond girl.
Huh.
And it's like the moon has been colonized, and people go out and do mining operations, and it's kind of interesting. The costumes are terrible, the effects are terrible, but I think the movie came out not long after we landed on the moon.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it's not bad.
Now, when you say we landed on the moon, do you mean like the actual moon landing, or do you mean like
the stage?
Oh, I was gonna go a totally different route. I was gonna say, or do you mean like Dumb and Dumber? Oh, that's just great. We landed on the moon in the 90s. Anyway, sorry, that's my ADD again.
That's okay. Julian Jack, which was James Birdemic director. James Newton. It was his first movie.
He had a first movie that was not
He had a
Birdemic?
first movie. Yeah, it's called Julian Jack. It's very confusing. Definitely watch it with riff tracks. It's about two lame people that fall in love with each other, and there's a twist of sorts.
Mm.
And he wouldn't know white balance or focusing or setting up on a screen or telling your actors, here's your mark. It'll be characters that'll be like, you'll see like half of their faces.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, we're in a college dorm now. Yeah, because you put up a sign that said college dorm. You know, it's just like, yeah, Birdemic is a definite improvement over Julian Jack. Oh, here's another one. Good actor, needed to pay the bills. Tippi Hedren makes an appearance in Julian Jack. And she's feeding birds. So that's Julian Jack. And the only reason, Touch of Satan, the only reason why I like the opening to Touch of Satan when they're playing the theme song is because on MST3K, they're making fun of the theme song, or they're saying things, just little lines that makes it funnier. The best line in this movie is the girl is taking our hero for a walk down by a lake. Okay, they're standing by the lake, and she says, "This is where the fish live."
This is where the fish live.
You think? Oh, so anyway, I had a lot of fun.
I could tell.
Watching those.
I need to watch more of the Mystery Science Theater 3000. I've only ever seen riff tracks, which I know is not the exact same thing, but I know there's a lot of it's the same people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And so I've seen riff tracks before, and it's hilarious. And there's like always new, one of my favorites is the one they've done for The Room. And The Room is just so much fun in the first place, even without the riff tracks. But like new things that you never noticed before get added into it with their commentary. And so I that's one thing, is because I've been watching a lot of Pluto TV as well, but more so because of news programs, and they've got things like Newsmax and the Blaze TV and stuff like that. Anyway, but I did see they have a Mystery Science 3000 channel.
Yes.
And so now I'm very intrigued to try and maybe turn that on a couple times.
Yeah, they mix it up. They have the Mike gears and they have the Joel gears, and it depends on what the movie is. Mm-hmm. That's usually what I go by. I'm not like, oh, I only love Joel. Oh, I only love Mike. So, no, Bruce, I haven't. He was asking me a question, but I would definitely say any of those. But Frankenstein Island, that was on riff tracks. And if you ever,
I have to see that film now. I just have to.
Yeah. Sheila Frankenstein, Dr. Van Helsing. Oh, he's 200 years old. And I'm like, what?
That's wonderful.
I would say, if you ever get a chance, watch The Wild Wild World of Batwoman. It is so unbelievably bad. There's one scene in there where a minion is swinging on a rope. And I can't remember if it was Mike or one of the bots who said, I wish I was swinging from that rope right now.
Instead of watching this thing.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So,
nice.
it's worth a good laugh. And through here, I think we all have needed a good laugh.
Oh, absolutely. So. I love that. I love that. And Andrew Hoyle had said one of his favorite episodes of Mystery Science 3000 is Puma Man. So
Puma Man, as Donald Pleasance keeps calling him. Puma Man.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Also, as the K-Man had put something funny, he said, I thought of Dude, Where's My Car after reading the alien bikini ladies comment. And I was like, yes. It's like, we are hot chicks. Sounds exactly like what this movie is.
There's one scene in there where they have this one woman swung up between like two poles,
Yeah.
like she's being tortured. But then they cut her down and give her a hug, and there's no explanation. Well, why was she tied up between these poles? But this movie doesn't make any. It's just.
And they gave her a hug.
And they gave her a hug. It's just
That's
like, oh,
nice.
you made it.
Well, that's
Maybe
sweet.
Maybe it was an initiation or something.
Yeah. Maybe it was a special hug. You know, we don't know.
Yeah, it could be. But that's about it. Like I said, I've
Nice.
been doing a lot of reading. Curse of Oak Island started their new season on History Channel.
Yeah, I remember you had mentioned that in a previous show.
And they had to go through a lot of hoops to try to get back into Canada because of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
But there were a few people that were on the island that were continuing work until the brothers could get back.
Mm-hmm.
And they just keep finding things that it's not meshing with what we know of North American history. When you find a little cross that dates back to Templar times, where did that come from? And of course, now with all the sonar and everything, they're able to examine more than a lot of the excavators have done in past years. So they think they found the original money pit. So we'll see what happens. They don't know what could be there. They keep saying that there are people down through history that have mentioned this island made of oak, that Shakespeare allegedly mentioned it, that the Templars have mentioned it, that the Freemasons did. So if they hit that vault, I have no idea what might be in it.
Aliens.
I'm hoping Templars. I'm hoping it's related to the
Alien Templars.
Alien Templars with Sheila Frankenstein.
With bikini-clad women, yes. And they've survived because they're feeding off of those alien. Those are the aliens. The alien, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But there you go. There you go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much. A lot of films there for us to think about, but I think none of us are ever going to forget about Frankenstein Island. And it's intrigued me so much. I've written it down.
Oh my gosh.
Might be one where I'm like, hey, honey, talking to Freya, like, hey, honey, how does this sound for you? Because she actually was just watching a film that's like The Princess Switch or something like a Christmas. Vanessa Hudgens plays somebody who has a long lost twin because they had a family member like years before that was like related somehow, but now they're exact twins, and one's trying to live as the other for a day because one's royalty, one's normal. And anyway, so she's willing to watch that. Something tells me that Frankenstein's Island might be up her alley. With that being said, Dean Approved, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, Tina, tell me you've seen Mystery Science Theater 3000's Santa Conquers the Martian.
I love that episode. And you know Klinger's in it. The actor who played Klinger on MASH.
Okay.
He's in it playing one of the Martians, but the Martians look like they have guacamole smeared on their faces.
They probably do.
They probably do. And Santa's weird. I don't know.
Those are words you never thought. Santa's just weird.
Santa's just weird. But yes, that's a great episode.
Nice.
It really is. And Dean, did you know that there is supposedly a sequel to Manos Hands of Fate?
There's a sequel?
Yeah, it's supposedly one of those Amazon will buy anything movies. But I don't even dare look at it. It's like, no, I have fond memories of Manos, as fond as you can possibly have. I don't need a sequel. So.
There are some things that we just don't need a continuation of. That is one of them. Inferior said in the chat, Japanese anime has the same issue with late 90s, early 2000s movies. 2000 movies or series when they made the slow transition to animating digitally. Blu-ray re-releases are just upscales of lower resolution. Yeah. And also there's been some old school animations that they've actually done the process of like transitioning it into not the hand-drawn, like not an actual scan of the 4K of the 35 millimeter prints, but actually updating the animation instead, which is just, again, anathema to me. I think that's ridiculous to do that. But yeah, I think I know what you're talking about there a little bit. Rosetta Allen had said Odin is a fruitist. I like bananas.
I completely agree that some wise, beautiful woman in chat said that, and I agree.
Yeah. Eric K had to head out, so Eric K, that was a while ago, so hopefully you're good. Let's see. And Fearter, the name's Fargo. Bart Fargo. Yes. Yes. All right, I gotten that one already. Jonathan Aldridge, what has Shakespeare got to do with aliens? Everything. Who writes in iambic pentameter? Tell me, who writes in iambic pentameter?
I've done it.
Aliens. Then you're an alien.
Oh my gosh.
Then you're an alien. Alien confirmed. Alien confirmed. All right, well, we are a little over.
Well, then, you know what aliens do to people, right?
No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm closing that door. I am closing that door. Do not enter. And I know we're on the same wavelength with that one. Anyway, so we're a little over time, but we'll just go ahead and go down the line as for any last minute thoughts or any last minute things that people want to shout out or and again, please do not feel rushed to do so. I've already updated and told my wife that I'm running a little bit late. She sends me, this is my dog Willow. Whenever it's like the hour before it's feeding time, she always like gets ready. Every time you move, she was like, is it time? Is it time? Is it time? And so this is her right now. So for people on the stream, she's just like, I'm ready. I'm ready. And then for y'all, this is her right now. She's like, I'm ready.
Aww.
I'm ready. Yes. So anyway, our joke is we say it's not time yet. And in her monologue, she says, it could be. It could be time. Jeremy Swiggs says, you complete me. Well, thank you very much for that. But anyway, let's go down the line. Any last minute thoughts or comments? So Mr. Roy, what you got?
Not much. I'll give a shout out to Caffeinated Wolf. He does the Mario Kart streams on Thursday, which is my only day off. So
nice.
It's nice to do that. It's unfortunate I no longer get on the Geeks and Gamers ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's basically it.
Andrew,
are
right?
you gonna be? Yeah, Andrew. Are you still doing the morning movie streams for Geeks and Gamers?
Well, I did one before Baby Thor was born, and I'm totally open to doing another one. It'll happen at some point. So yes, it will happen again. I just don't know exactly what Saturday, because it was meant to be a once a month, I think at least. And so I think I might be at once every 2 months with this one, but it will happen again. So yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Because obviously that's a better time and that's one thing I always criticize my brethren. I love my Geeks and Gamers family, but those times are not good for the hardworking men and women of our country. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, like, even working nights. Oddly enough, your schedule fits with mine.
Because I understand time, and the best time is prime time, and I will always take the prime time slots on Tuesdays and Saturdays. But thank you for being here, Mr. Roy. And yeah, shout out to Caffeinated Wolf and Caffeinated Andrew, to Andrew, Geeks and Gamers. Yeah, seriously, those streams are always a lot of fun. I really wish that they wouldn't stream so late, because I would love to join them either in the chat or playing. So thank you, Mr. Roy, for being here and for continuing to be an awesome member. And again, congratulations. Glad that you're back full-time at work.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Rosetta Allen, what you got?
Well, since I have to do this, I have to actually give a shout to the people that I worked with on Tilt 2's projects, because I got to do all this artwork stuff. I got to do all this, and it's been great. But I've already got 3 of the people that I worked with on that are actually either doing free or discounted artwork to help me with this military project and trying to help me get people together for it. So
nice.
It's just absolutely a sweetheart of a crew. So I don't know if you still have that link or not.
If I do, it's going to be long. So yeah, if you send it again, though, I will.
I'll send it again. But if anybody wants to back and stuff, these are amazing people. The comic stuff he does is incredible. And there is still one of the original artworks that me and Vic did together available in the tiers. So
very nice. So you can go ahead and support Tilt Part 2, and I'll be posting the link for the Indiegogo in the chat right about now. So again, go ahead and click on that link, Indiegogo Project. Support Rosetta, support Doc Hogg.
Lenore, Lakem, Vic King, and these guys are all sweethearts who are all doing all they can to help me with this charity work. So.
Nice. And right now they're more than halfway through their goal of $4,000. They got 26 days left. So if you can give $1, $2, $5, $10, $100, anything you can give, or if you can't give anything, a share, all of that stuff is great. So thank you very much, Rosetta, for being here. And yeah, I hope that everything goes well. And of course, we'll be following once your Eagle project goes live. And again, that picture you saw earlier was going to be, that's going to be part of the book or part of the campaign as far as giveaways?
The extra artwork. Okay. I have the pictures I was doing that I was showing you before, which are the more finished ones, are all the ones that are going to be like cards and postcards and stuff for the campaign and stuff.
Yeah, I'm blowing you up if you want to show those off. Yeah.
Look at that. I'm doing several sets of these, and yeah, and then my followers will get to pick which ones they want as the extra art and stuff, and I'll sell the originals. And it's going to be interesting. I've got all pages designed and laid out, backgrounds and everything done for both books, and I'm going through now filling out all the text and details and editing work. So
nice.
I've actually gotten a lot done in the last month.
Okay. Very, very cool. And can't wait to see more because, again, it's looking great. And thank you for showing us the artwork that you made today as well, because that also looks fantastic. And I cannot wait to see, again, Odin, God of father of the son of thunder, like head, and then nice feminine figure. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see that. Anyway, I saw that Laura had popped in. I think that she popped out. So Laura, if you're still listening, if you do want to jump in just to say hello, please feel free to jump back in, because I saw that you had posted on Twitter. But anyway, going down the line again, ZK man, any last minute comments or shouts?
Pretty much I want to say thank you to everybody that has supported all the work I've done throughout the years and whatnot. And pretty much like with the music, I'm actually starting to go in a different direction with future music, because most of my past stuff has been all kind of like hip-hop type stuff, but I'm actually like with the release of an instrumental that's going to be released on the 30th of this month. It's going to have more of a rock sound to it with sort of a slight soul to it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so that'll be the next thing that I release. It'll just be, for this project, it'll just be just that one single. Working on other stuff as well, but also I give a shout out to the Valkyrie for all their hard work and all the streams that they're on, and also gotta say a shout out to all the amazing people that are the chosen that's been in the stream. Each one of y'all are awesome people. I'm glad to have been able to get to know y'all at each stream, and hope to continue to keep learning more and more.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think everyone that's been a part of these streams too, it's just been always fun to come in once a month and to have these conversations and just to have a lot of fun. We at times, we've had one stream in the last couple of months where we got serious, and it's always good to have that too, though, because it's how we, are able to kind of sometimes get that release. But that's why I also do love these streams though, where I had a ton of fun today. And it's just been a blast. And so, yeah, definitely shouting out to Tina and Steph, to the Valks, again, because they really do bust their tails in the chat and chase off trolls and make sure everything is being, everything is going as well as it needs to go. So, yeah, huge shout out to them especially.
Definitely.
Yeah. But not too much, because I don't want their egos to get too big. So
too late.
It's not male. It's not going to get that big.
And speaking of egos, someone who calls herself the Empress of the Universe, Tina. Any last minute thoughts?
Steph sent a hello. She said her yoga class was full. So
Yes,
that was a good thing.
awesome.
Her net is still out, so she's
Mm.
sorry she couldn't be here.
Mm.
Glad I got to recommend Frankenstein Island.
Yes. Again, written down Frankenstein Island.
I mentioned a Kurosawa movie everyone should see, and everybody's hung up on Frankenstein Island. So whatever.
Kurosawa, who? I want to know more about.
I saw your notepad.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna have to look it up.
But shout out to my Valkyrie captain, Stephanie, since she can't be here. And what was I going to say real quick? I'll just say this real quick. Lethal Lightning did a really interesting live stream the other morning, and I happened to be up, amazingly. And he was, he's a big Zack Snyder fan, so they were reviewing the new trailer release.
Yeah.
Well, at one point, Zack Snyder actually came on and did a live stream reviewing the new trailer. And I just thought it was cool because I'll say this. I said it to Stephanie. He doesn't look well, but he's got a lot of pressure on him. Mm-hmm. AT&T is pretty much in the help us Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope mode. He's got fans to think this movie is going to be the second coming. He's got the haters that are just waiting to pounce on everything. Mm-hmm. And then he's got people like me. They're just, if I get to see it, it's out of pure curiosity. But he didn't look well. I mean, he was happy, but he's thinner than I remember seeing him. But he was so polite through the whole stream. Even when people were asking him silly questions, he was very polite when he answered them. And I was like, I wish more directors could be like that, whether you like him as a director or not. But I wish more of them were like that you would talk to the fans or the curious and not like hold up little Post-it notes. Your Snow theory sucks and this kind of thing, and that just kind of made me like him a little more. I was very happy on a heartfelt note to know that he does have a son. His son choreographed one of the scenes in the extended cut. And I was like, oh, he does have another child, you know. So I was glad to hear that. So I don't know. They kept waiting for him to drop a date. He hasn't, but he did say there will be 2.5 more hours of footage. Whether this were, I was one of those people. I looked at Justice League. I could tell it was kind of hot trash, but I didn't hate it like a lot of people did. I was just like, oh, this movie's just kind of all over the place. So I guess we'll see. But like I said, he's got a lot on his shoulders. I can see why he doesn't look well. Yeah. And I'm sure he's going to be happy when that stress is kind of, lifted off of him. Yeah. So that's about it. I wish more directors were, like that. Yeah.
And before ending off with Laura, who's just gonna say hello during this last section right here, I just want to say that I'm very critical of Zack Snyder's work as a director, but that doesn't mean that I think he's a terrible person. And I think that this whole situation has really helped to expose that he is seems to be a very genuinely good person who has gone through a lot, who has gone through a tragedy, and has seemingly come out of it on the other end. Obviously, as you mentioned, he seems to be not well. He seems to maybe be struggling, maybe because of pressure and everything. But it seems that it's still a story that I think we should push people to and should try and stress, because he has gotten a lot of criticism, and I think a lot of it is justified as far as his work goes, but he is still a person. He's still a human being, and it seems like he's a pretty good person. And I think that is something that needs to be stressed. And, at the end of the day, if I don't like your work, if you're a good person, I'm willing to give you another chance. I'm willing to talk about your film, to talk about your work, and to give you a shot. And so, good shout.
Yeah. I just, if you get a chance to, Warner Brothers or Google struck down Lethal's live feed about twice, I think. Yeah. And he kept coming back, and I was like, why are you all doing this, Google? I don't know, but anyway, I like. He's not the greatest director in the world no, but that just kind of made me respect him a little bit more, which is more than I can say for people like JJ, who even Tarantino called an idiot, because he said, if you create a Kelvin universe, how can you not stand here and explain it to me? You created it. So exactly.
Absolutely. So with an introduction, with an intro, with a what you've been watching, and with a conclusion, we have Laura. Ryan stole my fan fiction story / always waiting for Nerdrotic. Laura, how's it going?
Hello. I just want to come in and say hello to everybody.
Yeah.
Good show today.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. We missed you. And with that, anything you want to shout out, anything that you've been watching, or anything that you want to say?
Oh, just real quickly, the Agatha Christie's Poirot, excuse me, I can't pronounce French words.
Poirot?
Poirot,
yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess it was on the BBC. I found it on YouTube, so I've been watching that. It's different. It's completely different than the movie version from Kenneth Branagh, but that's good. It's good.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. And so where can people watch that again?
I found it on YouTube on a channel called Brit TV.
Oh, okay.
Like BRIT TV. Yeah,
very
that's
cool.
all I've really had time for lately.
Ooh, Brits.
Yes. We all know that the Brits, at least the ones that hang out here, are a very special bunch of people. But in general,
window licker.
That's what you say. I won't say that.
Just teasing you guys. I love you.
Okay, cool. So check out some Poirot on Brit TV on YouTube, and anything else.
Oh no, I've only I got through the first episode, and I think it's like 8 seasons. So I was like,
got a ways to go.
Yeah, I was talking to my daughter because she loves that version of Poirot, and I was like, "How many books did Agatha Christie write?" And she was like, "Oh, a ton."
Yeah.
I was like, oh, jeez.
But they're good. But they're good. So.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not that I've read every one of her books, but the ones that I have read are very good. So.
Yeah, I like his Poirot, Laura. I really do.
Oh yeah, that's he seems to be the favorite. He's very,
yes,
very quirky.
I do like, and then they were none. That's still my favorite.
And then there were none.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, I read that when I was a kid, and it kind of almost traumatized me. Now that's a subversion of your expectations. That's good.
Well, I have to put that on the list. I do have I have a list of all the stuff I want to watch.
Yeah,
never get to it.
Well, your list needs to be shredded because there's only one film that you need to watch, and it is Frankenstein. I'm showing it to you on 2 screens. It is Frankenstein Island. All right, you need to watch Frankenstein Island. Everyone needs to watch it. Okay.
Oh yeah, you have the leather-clad bikini women.
Yes.
Or whatever.
I didn't hear anything else after that, but you had me. You sold me on it.
Where do you find these movies, Tina? I swear.
Mystery Science Theater 3000
and Pluto TV.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is a great service, by the way. Again, it's free TV, and they got tons of stuff.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they keep adding channels more and more. They just added a Storage Wars channel. So.
Oh, I love that show.
Oh my god.
And most importantly, they have this little gem of Frankenstein Island. So that is the only reason that you need to sign up for.
And
Pluto
they have
TV.
that too. And Laura, when you read And Then There Were None, don't watch the movie until after you've read the book. There's a 1940s movie with Walter Houston that's very good, but it is a little different. It's different.
Okay.
So definitely watch that. So
yeah, I have a special place in my heart for Kenneth. Is it Branagh? Is that how you say it?
Branagh, I think.
Branagh.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Kenneth Branagh.
When my daughter was little, for some reason, she fell in love with. He did. What was it? I think it was Much Ado About Nothing. He did
I
a
love that
version of
movie.
the Shakespeare play, and my daughter must have watched that movie 1,000 times.
He's
She
talented.
she got so into Shakespeare because of that, and I think that's why she's an
That's
English
cool.
major today. But oh my god, I was just like, I've seen this movie, that and Aladdin. You know, it's like, how many times can you watch the same movie? Oh my god. But
Braun is very talented, though. I mean, obviously every actor has hits and misses, but for the most part, I would say that he is, because I want to say didn't he do the live action Cinderella?
I can't remember. Was he in that? He probably.
I don't know if he was in it, but I think he directed it.
Yeah, I heard
Oh,
he did. I never saw it.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, one of the better of the live action Disney remakes. And so yeah, it was. I thought he was fantastic with that. Obviously, I do like his rendition of Poirot. I think it's very compelling, and he's just, again, a very, very talented guy. And then also it reminds me of just he's an actor, he's a director. Also, he gave us the first Thor movie. He gave us the first
he did.
Thor movie.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I liked his he did, the only other movie I've seen of him that I really remember was he did a really good version, I thought, of Henry V.
I love that movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I didn't like his Frankenstein. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, I saw parts of it, and I was like, I know they're trying to get back to the original book, which I just read, and it's one of the most boring books I've ever read in my life.
Well, yeah, the Bram Stoker's Dracula book is well, it's a little different, but I mean it's a different feel than the movies that have been produced. That's for sure. But yeah,
Cool. Well, thank you for being able to join us, even just for a little bit.
I swear. So I get to work, right, and I have to work on Sunday, so it's already not right, you know. And then these people are flooding around our parking lot, and I was just like, what is going on? They're like, our dog is trapped behind your fence. And I was like, I don't have keys to anything, you know. So I'm like scaling over fences and ducking behind shrubbery. And so I got the dog. I was like, okay, now I can't get back over the fence.
Did you just say shrubbery?
Shrubbery?
A shrubbery!
A nice shrubbery about this high.
With a little path through the middle. A path.
So I'm on this like weird side of the building, and I just scaled over this fence, and I've got this dog, and there's like no way to get back in the building because it's locked. So I was just like, oh my god. So I was like banging on the windows trying to get my coworker's attention.
Mm-hmm.
The poor dog is like, what is happening?
You saved that dog, though.
I did. I ended up shoving the dog through the fence. I was like, I'll get myself out of here somehow. I don't know.
That's awesome, though. I mean, again,
I'm on the video cameras, and they're going to be watching that on Monday. They're going to be like, what is going on?
And you can say, I was a hero that day. That's what's happening.
Yes.
And then the power went out.
Yeah.
And then I tried to come home, and Costco's right next door, so there were like 10,000 people
Oh, Lord.
trying to get into Costco. So I had to sit in traffic for an hour.
Gotta do that Thanksgiving shopping. Get all that food.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to drink until I pass out now.
It's gonna be a good Sunday from this point going forward.
God did not want me at work. He was like, what are you doing here?
I'm gonna give you this dog. That's not enough? Okay, I'm gonna turn your power off. That's not enough? Okay, well.
That's a
Costco.
sign. You need to go home.
Once Costco's crowded, then you know.
Oh, and Soul said Frankenstein Island is on YouTube for free. So none of you have any excuse.
Know what I'm doing later.
Yes. And if you can find it with the riff tracks, great. But otherwise, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think I'd watch that on Just,
Sounds like Odin's movie blog watch party.
yeah. Odin's probably watching movies. Yeah. They may not be from the 80s, Rosetta, but at least it's a movie.
Nope, you fail.
It's got a
You
shout
fail
out.
always. You are always a failure.
Always. Got a shout out Dean Approved. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says this stream is Dean Approved. Well, thank you, Dean Approved. I appreciate it. Jeremy Swig said, "What about playing with Krista? Sometimes she plays early. I if this was a normal circumstance, I could, but there's a human that I now have to try and help support in his life." And that has made it even more difficult. But when things get a little bit more even keeled, maybe. Also, Gregory DeGraff says hello from Amsterdam, and it was around 10 p.m. when he said that. I think it's getting a little closer to 11. But at one point he says, "What are your thoughts on the Dutch?" And so immediately I thought of a quote from a film. "There are two things I can't stand in this world: people who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch."
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Yeah, it's Michael Caine in Goldmember. Austin Powers Goldmember. Great film. But that is one of my favorite lines in that movie. But I love the Dutch. I love everybody. But Michael Caine does not, sadly.
I love gold.
I love gold. The taste of it, the smell of it. Jonathan Aldridge had asked, had I read Midnight Murder on the Orient Express? Actually, haven't. As I said, when it comes to I like movies more. That's just my thing. Just my thing. Andrew Hoyle said that my pronunciation of Kenneth Branagh's name is correct. You're welcome. I sometimes pronounce things correctly. Sometimes. And Andrew Hoyle says that is a terrible Michael Caine impression. What do you mean terrible? I found a ruby the size of a tangerine. I think that's spot on. And anyway, that is going to be a wrap for us today, everybody, because I got to go take care of the puppies. Got to go take a baby Thor. And my wife's going to be like, "You're 40 minutes late. You said 4 o'clock." And I'd say, "I'm sorry. I had to make sure everyone had a chance to share all the things they wanted to share." But thank you to everyone who has joined us for this episode 200 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast. So thank you for joining us for that. Hopefully you enjoy the audio version if you're listening to this later on. But thank you for being here live, everybody. Hopefully you all had a wonderful time. Hopefully you all also will go check out Frankenstein Island, as I'm sure all of us will be doing as soon as the stream ends. Bond the Hobbit says, "Do you love Turkish trolls on DLive?" Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Those are the worst. And I guess that makes me not fond of their culture, I guess, if trolls are a part of their culture. But with that all being said, shout out once again to Mr. Roy, Rosetta Allen, ZK Man, Tina, and Laura for being my chosen. It's always so much freaking fun. And today was no exception. So thank y'all again for being here.
Good stream, everybody.
You.
You guys are very good today.
You didn't swear. You didn't swear. It's like a first in 2 months.
Not with the mic on, at least.
Not with the mic on. Exactly. But, anyway, thank you all so much. And if you want to be able to join this fun group of people next month, please consider joining on Patreon Subscribestar, becoming a part of the Chosen of Valhalla. We'll have this crew back, probably Andrew Hoyle also in December once we have that one. Probably will be earlier in December because obviously we want to try and stay away from Christmas time and New Year's. It'll be time of family and fun. And so I, of course, will let y'all know about that as soon as I can. And for everyone else, thank you for being here. Shout out, of course, to Tina and for being the lone Valk in the chat today. Pulling double duty there, but thank you still for doing so. And Bond Hobbit indeed is correct. Hashtag Duck Fisney indeed. No truer words have ever been said. And yes, absolutely. So anyway, next stream on this channel will be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for the One Man Low Council. So think about joining us then for episode 201, getting ever closer to the episode 300, of which Laura wants us to watch Meet the Spartans, which I don't know. Alex McCarthy even himself says that movie was meh. So if Alex McCarthy is not a fan, I don't know if we can justify it.
But it has Carmen Electra in her underwear in a water sprinkler. So
you think that would have an impact on me, and it doesn't. Now the chat, I'm sure there will be people in the chat. Now Tina, I think, is correct. She says Frankenstein's Island. Now that is something maybe we can do for episode 300. Once I've vetted it, of course.
I'm going to dip out because...
All right, well, we're leaving. Anyway, thank you all very much for being here. Andrew Hoyle, shout out to him because he is the newest member of Patreon. I have not updated the Patreon video. Rosetta, thank you for being here. You guys all have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my November Patreon and Subscribestar members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Brian P., David Bobrizik, Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Father Damian Cook, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunker Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jay, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Camille, Laura Story ×2, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Outpost Dyer, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, or Miss Martin Muses, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B., the Empress of the Universe. Thank you all for being my Patreon members, and a shout out, of course, to my Subscribe Star members, stand for John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nabadan G. Adams, and ZK-Man. Thank you to my Subscribe Star and Patreon members for supporting me for this month. I hope that you are enjoying your perks of getting access to things like a podcast, to giveaways, and also, of course, to other exclusive content. I know I've fallen a little bit behind with the birth of baby Thor, and so I thank you very much for your patience and, of course, for your continued support. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.